It's time for an inside look at the most powerful motorsport on the planet. WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
It's the most exciting sport on earth as far as I'm concerned.
Take a walk through the Nitro pits as we go one-on-one with the stars of drag racing.
Hey, you're with Matt Hagan. This is Ron Capps, Matt Hagan's personal friend. You're on WFO.
Featuring the NHRA's Alan Reinhart.
Our events are truly an experience. They're not just a spectator event. They are an experience.
So get in, sit down, and hold on with host Joe Castello as he goes WFO.
Thanks, brother. Always love being on WFO, baby. Nobody brings it to you better than you, brother.
Now crank it up. It's time to go WFO. Here's your host, Joe Castello.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro. I'm Joe Castello, and I am your podcast host. Welcome to all you podcast listeners. The Lucas Oil Nationals are in the books. The zoo was fun. It was out of control. It was under control. There was rain. Whole lot going on that. We've got the winners of the race on this show, and that's what WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro is really all about. And that is why we've been going for 10 years with this podcast feed, because you hear the winners. They win their way on. Who's going to be on? Ron Capps. Ron Capps is going to be on. Back-to-back final rounds, peaking at just the right time. Ron Capps going to be on the show. Going to ask him, we're going to go in depth on a couple of different things from the driving perspective, reaction time, these round wins, lane choice, all of that. Back-to-back finals and a victory in Brainerd, 6th of his career. Big weekend for Capps, while at the same time being the king of the zoo and going out there in a Capps-style, presidential-style motorcade was pretty spectacular. Ron Capps going to be on the show. Fans of the Napa car, you're going to want to share this show. That is for sure. Also on the show, Jason Line. Huge victory. Jason Line getting the win out there at his home race. He's done it before, but it happened in Indy. And it is totally not the same as going out there and winning the race in Brainerd, surrounded by family, surrounded by friends. Jason Line, Erica Enders, final round. It was spectacular. Great final round. Doesn't get much better than that when the number 1 and 2 qualifiers have to race each other in the final round, and it comes out to just a couple of thousandths of a second. So we've got Jason Line, we've got Ron Capps, and we have got Leah. Oh, yes, she'll be on the show. We're going to speak with Leah after her Top Fuel victory and a huge win for Don Schumacher Racing. A winless streak for the DSR Top Fuel Dragsters that goes back to last year at Seattle. Plus, a huge victory for Leah as she gets ready for the Chevrolet Performance U.S. Nationals. They are working hard to bring on sponsorship for the team, and Leah going into the countdown. It is a huge, huge deal. We're going to speak with Leah. We're going to speak with Leah about winning the race and being excellent on race day in terms of reaction time, which is so vital, so important. So Pro Stock, Funny Car, Top Fuel, we got the winners, plus Alan Reinhart, all coming up on the show. Next week is Indy, everybody. The Chevrolet Performance U.S. Nationals. And you can go back into our WFO feed on Apple Podcast or on Google or on Stitcher or wherever you get your podcast. I prefer you go to WFOradio.com and download our mobile app, which is specific for Android or iPhone. But the bottom line is this. Every year at Indy, we do this long mega show. It's like 3 hours. Speaking with so many different drivers and people and personalities as we get ready for the Chevrolet Performance U.S. Nationals. This year, we got to do like a couple of them because we got Factory Stock Podcast about to come back, as Factory Stock Showdown is about to return. Pro Mod is about to return. It's all getting ready to come back. It gets real right now. Indy Countdown. And if you're not excited, you're not a fan. Not to challenge you right at the start. I usually save that for my time at the tail end of the show, and I will. We got Alan Reinhart getting ready in the green room. He'll be up first to set the scene, to set the table. But right now, I got to tell you about the sponsors of WFO Radio, the people who made it possible. Over the course of 10 years, some have come and some have gone, but they have all gotten us here. And our newest sponsor, the folks at Total Seal. the leader in piston ring technology. They got the ability to meet whatever special needs you may have for your piston rings. From NHRA drag racing to NASCAR, IndyCar, and others, Total Seal can fit rings into your pistons. Go to TotalSeal.com or give them a call, 800-874-2753. I'll tell you more a little bit later. Also, samtech.edu. Speaking of that Factory Stock podcast, all you young people out there or people who are looking for a new direction, if you want to become a high-performance engine builder, if you want to do something that you love every day, machinist, CNC machinist, motorsport EFI tuning, they have got it all in an atmosphere that encourages learning. They're down there in the Houston, Texas area, and they do it right. Go to samtech.edu. Start your education at full speed. Magic Dry, the official organic absorbent of the National Hot Rod Association. Need I say more? Go to magicdryus.com to find out more information. They got spill kits of all sizes for whatever your needs. Rodax, coffeeandgrills.com. Marvin Rodak, one of our oldest, longest-running sponsors. Let me say longest-running, because Marvin is up there a little bit, but he's still out there turning wrenches on funny cars, baby. So I'm not using the old word. I'm using experienced. But Marvin's been doing it since the 70s when it comes to roasting coffee, fresh per your order, hot sauces, and spice rubs. And I can tell you I'm fired up today because of Rodax coffee. I'm enjoying the Scott Palmer Capco Final Round Blend, and it is great stuff. One of the best things about getting back to the WFO studio is I'm loaded up with Rodax coffee. Check them out, RODAKS, Rodax Coffee and Grills.com. Marvin Rodak, Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. The dragster adventure is what I am always talking about because I really want everybody to drive a dragster. So you will understand why so many people go out there and do what they do the way that they do it. Go to frankhawley.com, find out more, but maybe you need to get your super gas license. Maybe you need to get your top alcohol funny car license. Maybe you need to bring your own car and have Frank evaluate you and your bracket car to help you go out there and win more rounds. All of these things are possible. Go to frankhawley.com to find out more information. Great stuff at frankhawley.com. HusseyPerformance.net, quality copper head gaskets. David Allen and the team doing a great job. They make them custom. They've got a whole lot in stock. They're the best in the business. HusseyPerformance.net, and Hangstafers Metalworking Lubricants in Hangstafers Laboratories since the 1930s. If you have a machine shop, if you want your tools to last longer, you want your cuts to be better, Hangstafers Metalworking Lubricants have got the products to make you more efficient. Go to Hangstafers.com. Those are the sponsors, EV3 Drag Racing for your mobile device and Drag Racing Edge magazine helping us out cross-promotionally. And if you are a reader of Drag Racing Edge or a player of EV3 Drag Racing in that WFO series, welcome to you. And thank you to all you listeners for listening and patronizing our sponsors. We got to pump them up. We got to keep them going. We got to keep everybody in business and that money flowing and everybody out there on track so we can keep WFO Radio rolling out every week, and we got big things coming on that front. But now it's time to get on with the show. Joining us now, he called the action out there at Brainerd, the Lucas Oil Nationals. Alan Reinhart returns. What's up, Alan?
Hey, Joe. Heck of an event, man. It's good to be home for a day or two, and then off we go again.
Yes, just like that. Except it's the big we go again. Indy, baby, starting on Wednesday, and the thrash begins, at least for me right now. You guys will be in there calling the action, you and Brian, Wednesday, Thursday. I get in Thursday, and then we start on Friday with the Mellow Yellow Series. It's going to be fun, and I can already feel the electric atmosphere.
Yeah, there's actually cars that are already lined up out there, but I'm on the way between here and there. I'm going to Norwalk this weekend. There's the big NMCA race up there. And that'd probably be a little bit of a preview of what the factory stock showdown is going to look like, because NMCA has a class that runs basically parallel rules with the NHRA, and a lot of them go up there and get dialed in and test and tune them before they head for Indy. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. I
am looking forward to that as well. Factory stock showdown and the 32-car field. Of course, we're going to get into results of the Mellow Yellow Series from the Lucas Oil Nationals, but I agree. It's like a test session. Of course, they're trying to win a race in the NMCA, but, trying to figure out whoever wins factory stock at Indy, that is a huge, huge deal. Biggest field ever, and whatever they can learn, they can apply.
That's it. There's a lot of testing that goes on with those cars because that class still is really in its infancy. And there were some rule changes, especially for the Chevrolet and Ford guys, from the last time that they ran in the NHRA. So definitely everybody wants to make sure that they put their best foot forward going into Indy, because, that's one that once it's on your resume, it's there for life.
So true, so true. And we will cover all of that. New Factory Stock podcast coming out later this week, early next week, Indy, all kinds of stuff coming up. But let's not skip over what was a great race, all kinds of big emotional moments. Ron Capps, Leah Pritchett, Jason Line, and others picking up wins out there. Let's start off in Pro Stock, Alan. I was just battling it out on a Pro Stock message board on Facebook. People still trying to peddle that old and tired and disproven line that the category is dying off. What I saw was an exciting and invigorated category where the number 1 and 2 qualifiers fought their way to the final round and had a final round for the ages, with the hometown hero Jason Line picking up the win. The crowd went wild. It was an audible roar, and I can't think of too many Pro Stock races that could end up better than that.
Unless you're Erica. I agree exactly with what you said. Other than the debating online stuff, I've kind of gotten to the point with a lot of those people that I believe you can turn on every light in a room, and if a guy's going to close his eyes, he's still going to think it's dark. Were there different brands back in the day? Yes. Were there 80 cars back in the day? Yes. Was the competition better back in the day? No chance. And right now, Pro Stock is as competitive as it's ever been. It's certainly, we had 20 cars up in Brainerd trying to qualify for the field. It was interesting to note that there did seem to be a couple that broke away from the field, because Erica and Jason were, I don't know if head and shoulders above the field, but certainly head above the field. They were 1 and 2 in the first qualifying, the second qualifying session. They were 1 and 2 in the last qualifying session. I'm trying to remember the last time that the same driver had low ET every round throughout the course of the day. And, Jason went in there on a mission and accomplished it. After winning the race a couple of years ago when the finals were rescheduled and he didn't get to be in the winner's circle at home, being there this time was certainly pretty special. And, except for Erica, I think everybody in the pits was happy to see him do it.
Absolutely. We are going to hear from Jason Line coming up on the show, and I got to do some social media bits with Erica and Jason over the course of the weekend. They were both in great spirits. Yes, of course, Erica would like to have won, but I think she's very happy as well, because the troubles that they were having out in Seattle and the issues that they have been fighting seem to have been accomplished in the rearview mirror. Perfect timing for Indy.
We'll see. It's been a long time since Erica's been in the winner's circle, and I think that's starting to wear on her a little bit, as it would anybody. Remember when Greg won Denver? I honestly believe, and you talked to him moments after I did in the press room and then obviously on the show, but I really got the feeling that relief was the bigger emotion. It wasn't like, yeah, we won, we're badass, look out, here we come. It was like, oh, thank God we can still win. And I think that Erica's kind of getting to that point now that she needs that big breakthrough event. She certainly hadn't lost her touch behind the wheel. She hadn't lost her touch with the clutch foot, but you just need that validation of getting a trophy. When you're doing everything right and not getting results, that definitely will start to wear on you. But I really believe that, as I said, I think that's what Greg felt after Denver was more relief. And I think that's what Erica's going to feel when she wins her next one. And the way the car's running now, I don't think it's going to be long.
And it's funny because I asked Jason that about his win in Brainerd. Is it like, oh, my goodness, so happy that we won, or relief that now I have delivered for my hometown crowd? And I guess that's the drag racer mentality, and more often than not, it's relief.
Well, when you've got a goal and you've been chasing it for so long, Tommy Johnson winning Denver was a little bit of both, because that wasn't necessarily hometown for him. That wasn't, but it's something he'd been trying to do and been so close to, and finally accomplishing it is one thing. But when it's a deal like a hometown race, or a deal like you're just in this really long drought and you're starting to wonder, is it ever going to end? Then I think relief plays a big role when you finally do make it happen. And, I said it on the PA. I asked Brian about it when we were chatting earlier in the weekend. Can you imagine sitting around talking in Pomona going, okay, when we get to Brainerd, Erica and Jason will have a combined total of 0 wins. Anybody want to take that bet? I mean, what, are you kidding me?
Right, exactly. And others have, and Pro Stock has been so good over the course of the season. Now we've got a couple of Mustangs out there, the new season, the 18 races, the rules changes over the past couple of years. And we've even got a nice battle for 10th in the points. 3 drivers, Val Smeland, Kenny Delco, Fernando Quadra, all going in to the U.S. Nationals. very close in the points, within like a round of racing, I believe, for the final spot. That's what we wanted. That's what we got. And I'm hoping and I'm thinking that more cars are going to be coming now that people are realizing, like, we can do this, or this is a place that we could prove that we could do it.
And I think that's what you're going to see. I think that some of the guys, whether they're in Comp Eliminator or whether they're in Top Sportsman, guys that are spending premium dollars because they like to go fast. They have the financial resources to do this, and they want to come out and go fast. Now it's been proven you can do that in pro stock and have a legitimate chance of winning. And it really wasn't all that long ago that, you could buy a car and you could lease a motor and you could go race pro stock and you'd have a legitimate chance of qualifying. You had no chance of winning. And, that has changed now. And I think, a guy that goes out and spends that much money isn't doing it just so he can hang out with the cool kids. He's doing it because he wants to have a chance to accomplish a goal. And the goal would be to win whatever class that is. So you look at some of the guys that are spending, the money they're spending in Top Dragster and Top Sportsman to be the number one qualifier, to have, you look at some of the power plants that are out there in Top Sportsman, and I don't know about you, but I sometimes think to myself, dude, how much more would you have to spend around an alcohol dragster? And then, you don't have to get on the brakes at the end. But there's some of those guys out there that are certainly spending pro stock money in other categories, and hopefully they'll decide to stick their toe in the pro stock waters, and it'll just continue from there. You've got 3 legitimate options for leasing horsepower right now, and horsepower good enough to get you in the winner's circle.
So true, so true. And hopefully you got a group of guys, you work on your chassis, you're tuning your chassis, you think you can go fast. Why would you not do this? Yes, it's pricey, but not nearly what it was years ago. The bottom line is pro stock is resurging and in a big way, and it's always been great racing, and maybe better now.
I think Matt Hartford, I'm sorry, Joe, I think Matt Hartford is a perfect example. They lease engines from Elite, but they take care of their own car. They do their own maintenance. They make their own decisions. They do their own calls, whether it's clutch, whether it's transmission, whether it's whatever. They lease engines, and they certainly are championship contenders. What are they, 4th in the points right now? 3 final rounds, if I'm not mistaken, and 1 win on the season. And that's exactly what you can do. You've already got the car. You got the pieces and the parts. If what you're lacking is horsepower, that's available to anybody right now.
Absolutely. They're now 5th in the points. Jason leapfrogged them. And crazy enough to let an announcer touch their transmission out there in Denver. Went to the final round, by the way. That piece is up on NHRA's YouTube channel. That was probably a big mistake. But, how hard could it be if Castello can touch the transmission and you can still go to the final?
Well, what... I don't know if I should tell you this or not. Pretty much everybody out there's got a display transmission. So, when you come by or when TV comes by,
sure.
Hey, can we do it? Yeah, let me get the one out of the car. Wait right here. Okay, here, get the display transmission out. And but the fact that, as I said, they're doing it themselves. They're leasing horsepower, but after that, they're doing it themselves, and they're showing that you can be successful doing it that way. And I think that's great. And the open door policy that you have, I think, is also great. You've been in there a couple of times. When he came to Pro Stock School, Matt Hartford did Pro Stock School with me in Brainerd and brought a clutch and brought rings. Like, here's a Top Fuel piston ring, here's a Pro Stock piston ring. And obviously he's in the piston ring business. But it was, here, guys, hand these around, check them out. Look at what we're doing out here, and not afraid to show some people something. Now, the engine's not his, so he's not going to take the manifold off and hold it up over his head, but not afraid to spill some of the secrets of pro stock that so many people over the years have been trying so hard to keep under wraps.
So true, so true. Great stuff, and appreciate Matt Hartford for having that open door policy over the course of the season. It has been great. All right, funny car. Ron Capps. The guy has it going on when it comes to the zoo. Let me tell you, he is the king of the zoo. He's beloved out there. 6 wins now out here at BIR. And this was a really strong performance from not having lane choice to going to the final round and defeating Tommy Johnson Jr. Of course, Tommy distracted by something in the final round. There's no doubt about that. But nonetheless, Ron Tobler, Ron Capps go on another victory in Brainerd.
Well, let's start with Tommy. Tommy made a rookie mistake in the final, and that's his words. He and I were on the same airplane. We literally sat next to each other on the airplane coming home, and I asked him flat out, and he said, rookie mistake. He said, Ron took an extra second or two. He said, not hung me out, not any of that, but just, normally when he and I race, it's kind of bang, bang. And he said, I rolled in, and I sat there a second, and I went, wow, come on, dude. And I looked up at his stage light, and it was on. And I went, uh-oh, and the tree flashed. And he said, just absolute rookie mistake. He said, I lost my concentration. I glanced, took my eyes off the tree, and that's when the thing flashed. And he took full responsibility for it. But, what you said about Ron, you know me, I've preached it from coast to coast and border to border. I think lane choice, the vast majority of times these days, is a non-issue. Is there one that everybody likes a little better? Yeah. Is one maybe 100th better? Yeah. Is one maybe have not quite as big a bump? But is there a racetrack out there now that you can't win without lane choice? No. And for everybody that had lane choice to take the left lane all day long, okay. If the quickest car always takes the same lane, that lane is going to win a bigger percentage of the races simply because it's got the quickest car in it. But Ron Capps and Ron Tobler won 3 times out of the left lane, proving to everybody, ain't nothing wrong with the left lane. If you got your car right, it'll run just fine in the left lane. And, they qualified 7th, had lane choice in the first round, and the rest of the day, they didn't have lane choice. They knew they were going to be in the left lane. They made adjustments for the left lane, and they won in the left lane. No problem.
Yeah, big stuff going on out there. And just back-to-back
right
final.
lane. I'm sorry, they were in the right lane.
Yes, right lane down the racetrack. Go through J.R. Todd, Jack Beckman, Sean Langdon, Tommy Johnson. Those are tough opponents. And the Napa team peaking at the right time, right? Coming into the Chevrolet Performance U.S. Nationals, back-to-back final rounds. And that's all you can hope for. You don't know what kind of good luck, bad luck, or otherwise you're going to be dealt en route to a championship or not, en route to a U.S. Nationals victory. But you want to be at your best, feeling the car, having great performances. That having all been said, they're taking the car for a front half before Indy.
Well, they know that it's going to be kind of a mad thrash after Indy, and you're not going to have time. And there's a life on those things. The back half of a funny car is very stiff, doesn't flex much, doesn't wear out, so to speak. The front half of a funny car is much more flexible and does wear out and does cycle, let's just put it that way, from the front end carrying to when it comes down to the little bit of arch that there is in that 5 feet of frame in the front of the car. All that is a big part of the tune-up, and it has a life cycle. After it's been so many runs, you just need to replace the tubing, and it's time to replace the tubing. I don't expect it to hurt or slow down their performance any. How many times this year have we gone to a race and talked to somebody on Saturday afternoon or Sunday morning? They go, oh, yeah, that's a new car. We front halved it last week, and nobody even noticed. It ran great from the first run out of the box all weekend long. There wasn't gee, what happened to that car? Oh, you front halved it. Okay, I get it. It'll come around. The technology that's available out there to make the front ends as exactly duplicate as they can be, and it's just a matter of changing them. I mean, I don't think it's any different now than, changing a set of shock absorbers. As long as you're getting good quality shock absorbers and putting them on, you don't have to worry about going out and testing them and breaking them in. They're going to be fine right out of the box.
And we'll have Ron Capps on the show just minutes from now, King of the Zoo, Ron Capps. Top Fuel, this was a very big win. Fun day and Top Fuel. Leah Pritchett onward to the final round. Leah was able to go through Kyle Wurtzel, Billy Torrance, Austin Prock, and then Mike Salinas in the final round. But a great day behind the wheel for Leah. She drove very well, excellent reaction times, just about every run down, and was able to get back into the winner's circle after a year. Very, very sorely needed win. Big influx of confidence for that team.
Big for her. Big for Don Schumacher Racing. Big on just so many levels. That Don Schumacher has not won a Top Fuel trophy since Seattle a year ago. And that just seems ridiculous, doesn't it?
Yes,
that
shocking.
They could go that long, and Leah also won one of those rounds out of the right lane. If your car was set up to go down the right lane, you could go down the right lane. She definitely looked like she was on a mission. They didn't make a whole lot of mistakes, and they closed the deal. So they definitely didn't back into it. You mentioned the cars that they ran. When you beat a Capco car, and when you beat Austin, who won the last race, and when you beat Mike Salinas, you deserve a trophy. And that's basically what I told her in the winner's circle. I said, look what you did today. So good for her. They really needed that. The entire Don Schumacher team needed a little shot in the arm over there on the Top Fuel. The funny drivers have been running well. They've been winning races. They've been hauling their share of the weight, so to speak. And the top fuel teams have been underachieving a little bit, so they needed that. And then, if Mike Salinas had won, then you know what? He goes into Indy with a little momentum, and Alan Johnson's already got enough Indy magic going that I don't know if I'd say he would automatically be the favorite, but it certainly would have boosted his confidence going in. But I'm not ready to say that Schumacher top fuel teams are back, but that certainly was a step in the right direction.
Absolutely. They broke through and got the win. Leah getting the win, showing that, she's back on the edge, and going to be very interesting to see how it all weighs out. Mixing up the storylines a little bit for us going into Indy, which is interesting. Your thoughts on Torrance and the Capco boys. Billy, just a mistake in the second round. Leah will... Leah said she did something a little different on the starting line. Billy left on nothing, big red light. And Steve just got beat, right? Doug, 045, Steve, 052. That's tight, 050, great light. He runs a 75.7, Doug runs 73.3. That's what they've been daring people to do, right? You have to step up and beat us. And Doug, Troy Fashing, Rob Flynn, and those guys were able to do it in this round.
Well, I also think that you look at, Steve Torrance in the first round, did not make a clean run down the racetrack. He was racing Cam Ferret in the first round, and Cam left. You talk about leaving on nothing. He left way on nothing. And so Steve didn't make a clean run down the racetrack. And so the guys come up in the second round and go, okay, look, we need to go to the finish line because we're racing Doug and we know it. And so they pull back a little bit, and Doug made him pay. But I think that's the kind of round that if Steve goes out in the first round and runs 369, which somebody did, right?
Yes.
Then
Clay.
In the second round, you come back and go, okay, now what do we got to do? And all of a sudden, that's one of those intimidation rounds that Steve has been getting. And because this time he didn't make that clean run in the first round, his dad, by the way, ran 368, but he didn't make that run in the first round. And now I think it changes the mentality in the trailer. I know it would in my trailer. If he goes out there and runs 369 and now I got to race him, it's like, oh, God, what are we going to do to outrun a 369? But if he goes out there and doesn't go down a racetrack, I'm going, all right, I'm not letting you get away with it twice. I'm going to make you, or if you run 369 now, God bless you. But I'm not letting you get away with it twice. And that time they didn't get away with it.
Absolutely. Another round that I thought was pretty big was Austin Prock and Brittany Force, two JFR team cars going out there. And Austin just building on his credentials as one of the best, certainly top three lever in the category, goes 053, big hole shot victory over his teammate. Brittany with a 73-0 comes up short. Austin would lose the next round to Leah, but just Austin continued, put 6 rounds together in a row, and the kid getting better and better.
Yeah, and again, the kid did it, not to belabor the point, I promise I won't mention it again, but the kid did it in the right lane, okay? So just more proof that you could win on either side of the racetrack. Brittany was off a little bit on reaction time in the first round. When you're racing Chris Karamessinas, I mean, no disrespect to the legend, but you don't have to knock the tree over on a general rule to outrun him. But you better be on time against Austin, and she simply wasn't. And they, that's something that I'm sure she knows. That's an area that she needs to improve on if she wants to make some kind of a run in the countdown to the championship.
Point standings, Terry McMillan holding on to the 10th spot, Scott Palmer 11th, Billy Torrance is 12th. They're all within about 40-some-odd points with 30 points around at Indy. I don't want to call it a mathematical tie. It's not, but it's close. Terry's got the spot, though. That's the spot I would want to be, holding on to the top 10. But here comes that Billy Torrance freight train, and the performance was there. Billy made a mistake. I don't expect he'll make 2 mistakes in a row. So if I'm Terry McMillan and Scott Palmer, I'm doing everything I can to get things as perfect as possible for U.S. Nationals.
Who won Indy last year? I don't remember.
Who was it? Oh, yeah, Terry McMillan. Oh, yeah.
I think that, if Terry has to fight that fight, I think he'd rather do it in Indy because it's a place that it's home for him. His shop is in Indiana, not in Brownsburg, but his shop is in Indiana. He's got confidence going into that race, and he goes in as a defending champion. If I'm Terry McMillan, I feel better about fighting that battle in Indy than probably any other racetrack on the tour. That
makes sense. You got good memories, and how many times do we see that when person has success someplace, they are able to go back there and duplicate it because of, the confidence, the positive energy, positive mojo, etc.
Yeah, just everything about it. The good notes from last year. Billy, I think, and I don't think I'm telling tales out of school to say that, Billy's car has been better from a performance standpoint than Terry's, but I think that there's no place Terry would rather fight this fight than Indy. I think he gets the home field advantage, for lack of a better term.
There you have it. And what a weekend it was. A whole lot of fun was had in a whole lot of places out there, both out there on the starting line and in the zoo. Sean Cowie, huge victory and top alcohol dragster win over Megan Meyer, and that was a big moment.
It was. When you got the two top players in points in the final round, it's your classic 40-point swing because either I'm going to get 20 and you're not, or you're going to get 20 and I'm not. And I don't know if it was, the pressure of the moment that got to Megan or what it was, but she definitely rolled in a little extra deep when she staged the car, hit the gas, ended up on the red side of the tree with the car that looked like it was the best of the two going into the final round. She certainly was quicker in the semifinals, but, there have been a number of years when people have looked, whether it was early in the season or late in the season, and gone, Sean Cowie, I'm telling you, he's the guy to beat. This is his year. He definitely is in the right position, only to have something happen, whether it was something catastrophic like the traffic accident or something unbelievable like the run that Joey Torrance went on last year. And it's still not mathematically over, but boy, is he looking good right now.
You said Torrance, you meant Severance because those guys win all the time. It's like Joey Torrance. Don't do that to us, Alan. We cannot handle that guy, whoever he is. He will be really, really good. Shane Westerfield and Top Alcohol Funny Car. Those guys, they say, we got to win out. I don't know, but they look like they could do it.
Well, they've got a really good race car. And, with Jimmy Rector working with them now, which was kind of an eyebrow raiser, I think, for a lot of folks. Jimmy Rector certainly knows a lot about racing alcohol cars, but at least my experience with him, it's always been with roots-type cars, with pro mods and with outlaw cars and with that kind of thing. But, he's over there joined the team now, and the performance was certainly there. They didn't run the car very much in the first part of the year, so they got a lot of races to claim, unlike, Sean Bellemere, Brian Howe, who's put a lot of races up and does not have as much room for improvement. So, running the table ain't going to be easy, but, man, so you're saying there's a chance. You just give an opening and see what they can do with it.
Exactly. And that's going to be so much fun tail end of the year. I don't want to mention Vegas, Pomona just yet, but I guess I just did. How crazy will that be? Comp Eliminator, Jim Greenheck, first win. Didn't comprehend what a big moment that was. Jim's been racing a lot. He's got a quick and fast car. It's a cool car. And so I assumed somewhere along the way he had won, and he hadn't.
No, that was definitely a neat moment. The guy also owns a racetrack, so he's very vested in NHRA and drag racing, a big part of his world. It's nice to see new blood get out there in the winner's circle. You know it. You know that, if you hand a guy, it was kind of like Austin Prock. When Austin Prock and John Forrest both won in Seattle, John comes to the winner's circle and it's like, oh, yeah, boy, it was great, tells a story, and, brings his wife up and brings his grandson up and does everything. When Austin Prock comes to the stage, he's hugging his trophy. I said, John, where's yours? I don't know. Well, yeah, when you got 150 of them, who cares anymore? But when it's your first one, it's a whole lot different deal.
Yes, that is a fact, and there was thick emotions out there. Brett Spear made the final round in stock and super stock, won super stock, runner-up in stock. A bummer for Brett, I guess, if he wanted to join the big exclusive double club, but really a good thing for stock eliminator win Chris Knutson, whose father had won the event in 1998 in the exact same car, passed away 1 year later from cancer. Since then, Chris had always had the dream of being able to go out there and win the race in the same car, and he did it on this given weekend. To me, stories like that are why we do this.
Oh, and it's a big block 4-speed car. Yeah, that was a pretty special moment. It was nice for him. You could hear the emotion in his voice when you were talking to him down in the Parade of Champions. And again, like Jason winning. a goal that he had been chasing for so long and so long and so long that he finally accomplished. It was a pretty special moment.
Super Comp Gary Stinnett, the four-time champ, Vernon Rowland in Super Gas, who is moving out pretty well here in the 2019 season, one down in Houston as well. Larry DeMars in Top Sportsman, Henry Weebush, Top Dragster, Doug Vansel in Top Fuel Harley. Doug not going quietly, putting a little pressure on Ty Tharp. I don't know if he's got, something big has to happen at Indy, but then again, something big happened at Indy last year.
You're right, but give me a chance. He's got a really good motorcycle right now, and I'm talking about Doug Vansel. Qualified number one, ran the table, ran low ET, I believe, in the final round. Right now, that bike seems to be doing what they tell it to do. Certainly in the weather conditions we had up in Brainerd, anyway. And I'd love for it to come down in Indy again to one of those pressure moments. It's fun for the riders, it's fun for the fans, and it sure is fun for us microphone holders when we get to sit up there and tell the story.
The mic stands. That's us. 27 points. Ty Tharp leads Doug Vansel. And so that is not a safe lead by any stretch of the imagination. Very cool stuff. And then Glenn Hall, the Pro Stock sled, has been just dominating, fourth year in a row.
Yeah, that's just not fair.
No.
For everybody that longs for the good old days of Pro Stock, that's what Pro Stock used to be. When one guy or two guys won year after year after year, and it's great for the guy who's winning, but for the rest of the field, it's like, oh man, really, him again?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think they all know it. They're all gunning for runner-up out there, and they seem to like Glenn too. So very good stuff. It was a very fun event. Did you spend any time in the zoo, Alan?
Very little. I took a very short tour on Saturday night, and that was it. I just kind of skipped over most of it this year. Had to swing by and have a cocktail in memory of Bob Kuhar, and that was about the extent of my visit.
No, totally understand. Well, the rain shortened everybody on Saturday night, so you just got out ahead of the rain. Change your story. Man, I was ready to party hard until that rain came, man. It was just a bummer. Oh, well. But good times were had by all. The last gasp of the summer for the folks of Minnesota. They certainly did a great job of it. But now it is onward to Indy and the Chevrolet Performance U.S. Nationals. And let's remind everybody, the NHRA breaking out the big guns this year. All of Indy will be available on NHRA.tv. They've got you and Brian Loans calling the action from first thing Wednesday morning. And that is a departure from things in the past. It wasn't always, there were a couple of days that were audio only. And, people were annoyed, and rightfully so this year. NHRA responding and with customer service, breaking out the two lead announcers, man, for Wednesday morning, 8 a.m. Indy. It's going to be Alan Reinhart and Brian Loans, and it's all going to be on NHRA.tv. They've got a special event package. It's like $26 or something. I think that is a steal of a deal.
The fact that class eliminations, which is run on Thursday, is going to be available, I think is huge. Practice runs on Wednesday. Certainly there will be people that want to tune in and keep an eye on that. But the Thursday thing was big, and I think NHRA decided if we're going to do it, let's just do the whole thing. They've got Warren Evans coming in, who is very well known to all of the sportsman racers for the live feed broadcast that he's put together. And when they mentioned to Brian and I, hey, do you guys would you be up for the whole thing? It didn't take either one of us long to say yes, because we're as hardcore sportsman racers as it is, and we understand how special Indy is. So we're going to go out there and we're going to have some fun with it. And for the first time in 5 years, you get to put your feet up for a couple of days and listen to and watch me work. I got to do that the last couple of years watching you work, and I got to tell you, I was kind of okay with that.
No, see, I take it as a great insult, but whatever. That's between me and my employer. What can I do, right? Listen, Brian Loans steps in. You gotta back down. No, really, honestly, I'm getting in on Thursday anyway. I'm going to come out to the track, and I am absolutely going to enjoy, because Indy is Indy. It's a fantastic experience, and I am just so looking forward to it.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, in between now and then, I'm going to be in Norwalk, Ohio for the NMCA race this weekend, and really looking forward to that. And schedule, at least my schedule, gets pretty crazy from here on out. My next Saturday home is Saturday before Halloween, so busy time of the year.
Vegas, baby.
My new motorcycle's going to be missing me by the time I get back.
You need to just leave it somewhere. Just go back and forth to Vegas on it. That needs to be your move. Alan, great job as usual. Thank you so much. Good times out there in the zoo and the Lucas Oil Nationals. The race fans of Minnesota are some of the best, passionate, diehard. We saw some great things happen out there, but now it is on to Indy. Thank you so much.
All right, Joe. Always a pleasure. I will talk to you next week.
There he goes, the voice of the NHRA. Alan Reinhart joins us each week right here on WFO Radio. We had such a great time out there in Brainerd. It is one of my favorite events. I know I say that about a bunch of events every year. This one's my favorite. That one's my favorite. It's so true. I'm not lying. It's just I have a lot of favorites, right? And no one is putting a gun to my head to make a real decision. Like, what is your actual favorite or else? That doesn't have to happen because this is all fun and positive energy kind of thing. The zoo was great. I'll tell you about that during my time at the tail end of the show. But right now I want to tell you about samtech.edu. Here's the number, first and foremost, 713-683-3817. The School of Automotive Machinists and Technology, engine block machining, cylinder head machining, CNC machining, EFI, calibration, all of it available in a program at Samtech. It is a great way to get started, and if this is your chosen career, you don't want to work in a cubicle, you want to have your hands on, you want to learn how to do things, there are so many jobs that flow through the education or from the education that you might get at Samtech. Go to the website, samtech.edu, or give them a call, 713-683-3817. Brian Massengill, the Massengill family, doing a great job not only educating people, getting them through the courses, but putting them in connection with people who can actually give them a job. It is a great path to go. 713-683-3817. And if you wanted to be involved in the Samtech Factory Stock Showdown, all you have to do is walk the pits, and it is absolutely loaded with Samtech graduates. I think there is a classroom to drag strip pipeline that is unequaled in all of education and motorsports. But not just drag racing, by the way. They've got graduates in NASCAR, IndyCar, and others, some that work for Boeing. So go to the website, samtech.edu, find out more information, and of course, tell them you heard about it on WFO Radio. When we come back, Ron Capps will be first after this.
This is WFO Radio.
Right now, though, I want to tell you about Hangstafers, metalworking lubricants. The folks at Hangstafers on board with big racers like Antron Brown and Lucas Oil Series of sportsman racers in the Racing RVs Top Dragster category. And their number one goal at Hangstafers is to increase the productivity in the shop. Metalworking lubricants, coolants, all kinds of stuff. You got to go to the website and check them out. And so go to hangstafers.com to find out more information. Alan Reinhart always says, like, the one thing that DSR and JFR have in common is Hangstafers metalworking lubricants. We're happy to have them on board, happy to have them helping our WFO radio listeners in their shop. Hangstafers metalworking lubricants, trying to make you a little more efficient in the shop.
Hey, this is Scott Palmer, driver of the NHRA Cat Spot Litter Top Fuel Dragster. Do you have a cat? Go to catspotlitter.com, order it today. All natural product, made out of coconuts, 100% biodegradable. All you NHRA fan, cat owners, support our team. Go to catspotlitter.com.
Hey, this is Joe Castello, and we'll be back to the show in a second. But first, I want to tell you about CompetitionPlus.com. There's a reason CompetitionPlus.com is the leader among drag racing electronic magazines. Their trained staff is always on alert and always asking the tough questions. The end result is hard-hitting drag racing journalism with up-to-the-minute reporting. For over a decade, CompetitionPlus.com has been a pioneer as drag racing's go-to source for the latest in news, race coverage, and high-quality photography. Their trained staff thrives on getting the inside stories, and their columnists study their topics before they hit their first keystroke. When it comes to covering the races, they leave you feeling as if you've actually been to the race. CompetitionPlus.com is an honest-to-goodness, free drag racing magazine, published by the most passionate of drag racing fans, who just happen to be journalists. Don't wonder what's going on in the drag racing world. Be in the know daily. Log on to CompetitionPlus.com.
Subscribe to WFO Radio on iTunes. Never miss a show. And don't forget to write a review. WFO.
Now back to WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
Welcome back to NHRA Nitro, Lucas Oil Nationals Winners Edition. We got Leah, we have got Jason Line, we got Ron Capps just seconds from now, but right now I want to tell you about Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in piston ring technology. We welcome them to the show. Matt Hartford coming on board for the remainder of 2019 with WFO Radio. Total Seal is the leader in piston ring technology. They've got the ability to meet whatever needs you may have. From NHRA drag racing to NASCAR to IndyCar to other, even more exotic styles of racing, Total Seal can fit rings into your piston, and they go out of their way to help their customers and make custom sets for any specific piston you may have. The best engine builders in the business agree on Total Seal piston rings. They've been building high-performance piston rings for 52 years and have engineers with over 60 years combined experience and are manufactured in the United States. The Total Seal facility is located in Phoenix, Arizona, and houses research and development equipment, manufacturing machinery, and technology focusing on developing and manufacturing piston rings for any and all applications. Their focus is on performance and race applications, which allows trickle-down technology to find its way into the everyday application. And for you engine builders out there, they also make tools that are made in-house so that they have all the serviceable parts ever required to customize sizes and are always just a call away. The Power Ring Filer is the star of the show. Hands down, one of the nicest units out there. Check it out at TotalSeal.com or call 800-874-2753. Tell them you heard about it on WFO Radio. That's TotalSeal.com. Total Seal, the leader in ring seal technology. And a big appreciation to them for coming on board with WFO Radio podcast right before the Chevrolet Performance U.S. Nationals. Big stuff going on. All right, time to keep going. Joining us now, he was the funny car winner out there at the Lucas Oil Nationals, has made back-to-back final rounds. They call him the king of the zoo, and he delivered. Ron Capps joins us now. Ron, welcome back.
Good to be back, Joe. Always good to be back on your show.
Love it. Love the fact that you always come on, and we always get to go in depth on various subjects in addition to the victory. But this is kind of a back-to-back, right? Final round Seattle, win in Brainerd, and now the season is at its most critical point. So I can't think of a better time to be running as well as you are. Yeah,
and I kind of forgot about the Seattle final.
Wonder why is that?
Maybe it was the therapy all week following that race. No, seriously, it's at this point in the season, and I think I talked to you about this. You start kind of focusing ahead, like, hey man, countdown's coming up, and every team is in the same mode. You're thinking you got to have your tune-up ready to go into the countdown, but you kind of at the same time you want to roll into Indy, which is our biggest race, and you want to roll in as if that's a one-off race and just try to win the U.S. Nationals. And if you have a good U.S. Nationals, it's going to move you up in the points big time because it's obviously points and a half and not normal points. So that kind of goes, along with that. But Brainerd is always one, obviously I've had great success and we've always done well and we have time, but a great time. But we like to approach that where we can kind of take the edge off a little bit. It's kind of a fun race, but at the same time, you want to make sure crew chief wise, for sure, you want to make sure you've got the right clutch disc that you want to run, you got the right tune-up, all your superchargers you want to run are all lined up, and Ron Tolber, there's nobody better than being prepared, as we've talked about in the past, on little things like that. And so, going into Brainerd, that was our mind process of going in, and we didn't get down the track first qualifying run, and then it sort of put us back, but obviously it ended up being a good thing.
Yes, certainly. It worked out. I do have a couple of questions about that, things like about the chassis and all, because I know you're going to get a front half. You're going to tell us about that. But let's do your round by round first and then delve into some of the other things. For instance, you got put into the hot seat before the race, and you got to, get questioned about various things. You answered well, and you went on and won the race. It's got to be good luck, right?
Yeah, that's a fun thing. I didn't even know you guys were doing that. Jason, for any of the fans listening, if you get a chance to either tune in NHRA.TV or at the track, they put somebody in the hot seat, and Jason kind of goes through them pre-race ceremonies, and it was fun. I had a great time. I was a little nervous because I know that it was rapid fire from what I was told, but Jason's always fun, whatever he does. So, yeah, that made it fun. That made it worth getting up a little bit early in the morning.
Exactly. I had considered having you on the track walk, but I thought to myself, I don't want to make Caps get up early after a Saturday night in the zoo. But then here you are on the hot seat. So, bottom line, pre-race is good luck. All right, let's get into the round by round, though. First of all, you ended up qualified 7th. It was, we had some brutal sessions out there. Cars were really tightly compressed. Everybody running well, certainly the top half. That got you a round 1 matchup against J.R. Todd. And as I'm looking at the ladder, I'm thinking to myself, wow, is there a matchup that's tougher than that? And there were a couple that were maybe a little more critical, like Tommy and Wilkerson is what we picked for our marquee matchup because Wilk needed it so badly and, for his countdown hopes. Bottom line, you and JR first round, you don't want to plan it that way, but you were able to get through.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to plan that. But, I mean, today in Funny Car, today's landscape of Funny Car is unbelievable. The days of, 10 years ago or 15 years ago when I was in Funny Car, if you qualified top 3, you don't want to ever say you had somebody easy or you had an easy round, but you would have somebody that was probably a part-time team that maybe came out for a couple races a year, just happened to be out there, and you could sort of either try something or focus on trying to get lane choice the following round and not necessarily worry about having a car that's a world championship caliber car first round. Those days are gone. You don't know who you're going to race first round, no matter where you're qualified. So, J.R. Todd is not somebody you want to race first round or really any round when you're looking at it. So that was huge. And obviously we qualified 7th with a 393, but we didn't make the first qualifying run on Friday. It didn't make it down. So we had to it changes everything. It really does. For the fans listening, if you don't get down the first run on Friday, it changes the mindset of the crew chief, and he's really got to back it down and make sure you get down Friday night and just take it from there. But we went up there to try to repeat our qualifying run, knowing that they could step up and run, 390 flat in a heartbeat, and so we were lucky to get by them.
Throughout the broadcast, you referenced, and in the Winner's Circle in the media center, how fun and honored, and it's just great to be able to see Ron Tobler work his craft, right? Like figure out like what's it going to take and where to find a little speed, where to find some, ET at the splits and all that. Can you give us some insight? Like for instance, between round 1, round 2, you're getting ready to run your teammate, Jack Beckman. You've lost lane choice. Beckman with an 87.6, like a monster run first round. You got to get through that without lane choice. How does that work? How does that happen? Tell me what you can.
Well, just to back up a little bit, we talked about crew chiefs having to make sure they got their act together as far as a tune-up and really being comfortable with what they have as far as you get your really nice clutch disc that you like. You know what they wear. You know how soft or hard each one is. And you want to make sure you have enough. Let's say you go to the final round, every race of the countdown, 6 races, 4 rounds on Sunday, you make 4 qualifying runs. You add that all up. You want to make sure you don't run out with 2 races to go and you got to try a different disc. So what Ron Tolber is really, really good at, and really we don't talk about it much, is him testing, or we testing, on Saturday and qualifying. If you get in good Friday night and you're comfortable, you want a race day set up on Saturday, and we need to try a new clutch disc. Normally we stay on a Monday and test, or we go somewhere and test, and that's expensive. So what Tolber's really good at is implementing one disc into our 5-disc pack and trying it on a run. But what makes it really difficult for any crew chief, you don't want to lose the run, but you can't necessarily go after the pole on that run, but you want the data, so you don't want to smoke the tires. So you have to kind of back it off and know exactly what you did in the tune-up world and what that ET would have been had you not put that disc in. So it sounds complicated, but he's really good at us trying things on Saturday and still getting down the track. That's the key. So we've been doing that. We did that in Seattle. We did that in Sonoma. And so we were comfortable after first round making a nice, good run against J.R. Todd. It wasn't great, but it was a good run. And then we saw right before us Jack Beckman's team go low ET of the event. So we knew we had them the next round. Didn't have lane choice. Okay, now I'm in the lounge where I get dressed and my locker is, and that's where Ron Tobler and Dustin Heim That's the war room. That I hear everything they do. I listen to what they talk about, and I know exactly mechanically. I've worked on these cars, so I understand what he's going to do, and we talk about it. So knowing that we needed to pick it up, we weren't going to try to run 87. We were hoping they would try again because the track got a little bit warmer. And if they did try run that again, they'd probably smoke the tires. But we wanted to go up there and make sure we didn't go up to a gunfight with a knife, you know what I mean? So that was the key, is to go up and try to run another low 390 and not beat ourselves. And that ended up being enough.
077 reaction time, 391.8, and you got there in a really good race against Fast Jack. So the defending race winner gets knocked out round 2. And it was like DSR and Coletta were your teammate, your competition over the course of the weekend, right? Coletta car first round, DSR car second round, semifinal Sean Langdon, who that team is getting quicker and faster and better, certainly a championship threat, emerging at the right time, had a couple of solid runs, but you were able to get around them with a 393.8 at 322.
Yeah, that's another team that, here we go again. I joked in Seattle, we had Tim Wilkerson first round in Seattle. That's not a team you want. In August, you don't want to run into Tim Wilkerson. And I joked with him on Saturday at Seattle. I said, here you come. This is what you do every year. All of a sudden, you start tickling it here and there, and you come alive. And Del Worsham and Nicky Bonifani and those guys, that's too much talent over there. Sean Langdon driving, that is a team that is scary. And sure enough, you looked at qualifying, man, they were tough. And then they laid down a great run first round. So you're kind of, as your day's going on, you're looking at the ladder, you're looking at the run sheet that we get sent to us every run with incremental times, reaction times, and you're watching other teams, and you're looking at potential matchups. But you don't want to jinx yourself and look too far ahead. But we certainly knew what they were doing. Sean's a great driver, great lever, and obviously Del Worsham, you know, I brag about him a lot. He's still, to me, one of the best drag racers that we have on tour. So we knew they would be scary, so we just wanted to go up there and not make a mistake again, and we were lucky enough to get by him. But I had a lot of issues driving the car and trying to keep it straight for some reason on that run, and I was on the radio to Tobler and Dustin, and it was a handful, and I wasn't sure why all of a sudden it was a handful. I know we tried to run better, but it went, you know, it ran pretty good. So that was mindset. As I took the turnoff and got ready to do my interview down there, I was like, uh-oh, that was a handful. Can I do that again the next round?
And you had alluded in the media center, and I guess now is the time to discuss. John Collins told me that they front-halved their chassis after Seattle and wanted this race to feel it out, right? Like, I don't know what can go wrong with a front half, but they wanted to just get a grip on it. You guys are waiting until after this race to front half your car. Now, you won the race, so, you know, it can't be that terribly, but is this what you suspect caused the little wicked handling the final 2 rounds? That maybe these things, they just, you know, when the time comes immediately, and now it's worn out?
Well, every crew chief has their thought process. I've heard Connie Coletta talk about it when I was coming up as a rookie. Pipe is pipe. You know, it is what it is. It's metal. But I know that we have a program, and the good news, bad news thing at DSR is we've got great teams, but we have a lot of teams. So when you want to get something done with our chassis shop, and our chassis shop does a great job, I mean, they're ready, but you have to get in line. And there's a whole list of getting in line way ahead of time. It's like making an appointment with a good doctor. You've got to get on the list of when you want something done, months out. So to talk about that a little bit, the handful in the semifinals, it did it again to me in the final round. And I just still don't know why, but I knew that we were going to front half this car going into Indianapolis. Now, a lot of fans are like, are you kidding me? You're going to front half a car, which is, we cut it off right in front of where my feet are, and the whole front is brand new pipe, just like it's a brand new car. We don't do the whole car a lot because the area where I sit and the pieces behind it and the roll cage area and the foot box, it is built so sturdy and so tough that it doesn't move around a lot. So that's why we front half them. We had a certain amount of runs. I'm not going to tell you how many, but we got a certain amount of runs that Ron Tobler looks ahead and says, okay, if we make this amount of runs on a Sunday, approximately this race, I need to make sure we front half it. So he got on the list to do it before Indy. And I've had people, I've given speeches, and I've talked about having new cars or front half cars, and you would think you would go out and make a checkout run in a brand new car or a front half car, and yet there are times that I get in it like I will Indy Friday night, and I'll zap right down there, and hopefully we go low AT, but I'll run down there and go 330 miles an hour in a car that's never been down a racetrack. And that tells you how good all these team members are, in the pit area, especially mine. So I don't worry about that being done, but I wanted them to look at everything, because the final round I was driving it like crazy just to keep it in my lane, and it wasn't like Tolbert went up to run 385. So he will look at it. They're going to check it out. All the guys in the race shop at DSR will look at it, and we should be good to go for Indy.
Big speed. You go 0.55 against Tommy. Tommy got distracted on the starting line. Something happened. I don't know what it was, and I have yet to speak with Tommy. He had a 171 light. The cars did not leave together, so something happened, no doubt. And you go on to victory, nearly identical runs, 1 thou apart, 394.6 at 324. You win once again, 6th time in Brainerd, and just kind of closes the circuit, because you've got Cap's Corner out there. I joke that you're the king of the zoo. We mentioned the fact, and I was fortunate to get to go out into the zoo Saturday night with you guys in like a presidential motorcade style situation.
Yeah.
Which was awesome, by the way. I want to tell everybody that we passed on the way of escaping the rain. Hey, sorry, but I'm there with the presidential motorcade, man. There's nothing we can do, right? It was great.
Yeah, it's gotten to be a lot of fun. And the funniest part is, this year, the years past, we stop on our way out there. We get everybody together. We stop. We pick up Jimmy Prock and Chris Cunningham and John Medlin and Guido. Mama Kay, Steve Torrance's mom, gets in with us. So it's been this ritual. And Saturday night this year it rained, so it kind of threw everything off. But you would think these are teams and other people that we have to race against, and yet everybody's friends and goes out and hangs out. And so that Napa motorcade thing we do now has been so fun. It's grown so much. We had like 20 Polarises from the Power Lodge that they give us, brand new, and it was fun to go out again this year. I just wish it didn't get cut short like it did.
Yes, well, exactly. And everyone's looking at the radar, and it's coming in, and it's like you start to feel a few drops, and everybody bolted for the vehicles and got out of the zoo very rapidly and back to the pit area just in time. But I want to bring everybody behind the scenes, because I'm looking at your reaction times, Ron. And we were having a talk back there, and I was looking at the qualifying sheet and the splits, and I noticed your reaction times were like all over the place, right? Something I'm not always thinking about, but in this case, so I go, Ron, what's up with the reaction times? Notice I did not say, hey, Ron, you had terrible reaction times. What's wrong with you? I was just curious because, and man, Ron, your eyes lit up like, what? And now I'm looking, first round 90, second round 70, semi 60, best reaction time of the weekend, 0.55 in the final round. And you had said, hey, we're talking about practice, but I want to dig a little bit deeper on that. There's a big difference between qualifying runs and what you do and competition, which happens on Sunday, and the numbers prove it out.
Well, it was a good thing Tolbert, I think he was pouring a glass of wine, because he didn't hear you say that. But he always jumps right in and says, hey, I don't ever worry about Ron on Sunday. And that's a good thing. I don't want any other drivers or aspiring drivers, or maybe I do, I don't know. But I've always tried to, qualifying, I don't always. When I want to, I'll go up there and try to hit the light and nail it. But a lot of times I'll go up in qualifying, and the main thing is to get as shallow as you can, trickle it, and blink the light, because 1,000th or 2,000th could mean the difference in qualifying 8th or 9th or 1st or 2nd, So that's the main thing for qualifying. I don't necessarily go up there unless I have the mindset I'm going to go up and cut a light like it's eliminations. But what I do a lot of times, and I've done throughout my career, is I will play around with doing different things, staging and qualifying, and not to the effect where it's going to affect, how I leave or how the car reacts, because that's the main thing. I want to hit the gas the same. I want to do everything the same in qualifying, so Tobler has the same information. But what I'll do is I'll create little distractions for myself during qualifying, because if it happens on a race day and it's Pomona final round for the countdown in the World Championship, I don't want to be distracted by something that I wasn't ready for. And I won't go into specifics, but I play around with different things. I'm not looking at a certain way at the light or looking away from the light and going off of my peripheral vision, pretending that maybe one of the bulbs are burned out. And that could throw a driver off. So little things here and there I'll mess around with. And, things happen. Like, look at Tommy in the final. That's a guy that just doesn't do that and doesn't make a mistake like that. And he told me what happened, and it's happened to me a million times, and it's happened to John Force a million times. You just try not to get distracted like that. And that's a great example of why I do that in qualifying, exactly what happened to Tommy. And you can't ever expect that's going to happen and be ready for it. So, I don't want that to happen during the playoffs. I want to be ready, and I feel like that's kind of the thing I do. And I don't ever have Tolbert give me the look about my qualifying reaction times. He knows we've obviously won a lot of races together, and I want him to count on me. So that's kind of where I was at.
I really just wanted to turn it all into a teachable moment, which we just got right there. So thank you very much for that, Ron.
You're welcome.
Well,
Jim.
I don't think that, no, it makes perfect sense. Like Floyd Mayweather in a sparring session is not going 110. He's doing different things, working on stuff that's going to help him. I feel like that is basically what you just told us. You're using the opportunity to train yourself in a different way.
Yeah, and, listen, there's drivers that obviously have better reaction time than other drivers out there. Is it an age thing? Maybe. Who knows? Forrest likes to blame it on age and why he goes in deep. I really think he doesn't need to, and he's just as good. There's a lot of different components, and the fans need to understand this. I've been doing this. This is my 25th year, so I understand I've had a lot of different crew chiefs. A lot of it decides, the reaction time is decided by how the car is set up. Clutch weight, idle, how the car is tuned up, if it's got a lot of tune-up in it and it's making a lot of power, a lot of compression. There's little things that will affect your reaction of the car. When I come home from a race and I'm second to leave the starting line by whatever it is, I come home every race and I go frame by frame. And if my blade's open at the same time, then I'm okay. I go on to the next run I want to look at. So I'm not saying any crew chief is better than others, but you look through the career of certain drivers and you'll see that change with different things that the crew chiefs do. We went 6-disc clutch for a while and back to 5-disc and little things here and there. Ron Tolbert's always looking at making, linkage-wise, the best way possible for my reaction times to be the way they are. The problem you don't want to get into as a driver in a Nitro car is to try too hard. Don Schumacher knows there may be a couple drivers, young drivers may come up, and they might have reaction times that might be better than mine or whoever. You pick any driver. But I will tell you that over the span of a season, and I'm not trying to brag on myself, but I would promise you that any owner out there would rather have somebody that's steady and goes up and does all the right stuff all the time and not necessarily trying too hard and having red lights thrown in here and there and making mistakes. And that's what I try to pride myself on, is just going up and trying to be somebody that a crew chief can take out of the equation and get win lights. And that's what I aspire to do. And I want to go up and make Ron Tolbert proud every single time. And he knows. I tell him, hey, I am not hitting the lights. I'll tell him in qualifying or race day. He knows, and we talk about it. And that's when the car has to save the driver. And there's times when I'm up on the wheel and for whatever reason I win on a hole shot and I'm able to give back a little bit. But the one thing you don't want to do is try too hard, because you will make a mistake.
That makes perfect sense, and I appreciate that. And just thinking about the numbers, 50 wins for Don Schumacher Racing. That is a huge, huge number. 63rd win of your career, and there's that double number because you got that one win in Top Fuel as well. But 50 wins at DSR. Speak on that a little bit. It is crazy. I remember being a little disappointed, honestly, because, I've told you, and I know you are as well. You answered the question in the hot seat about John Mitchell versus Don the Snake, bigger break for you. And you said John Mitchell because, it happened in Brainerd, and that was the first step. But, you used to run for the Snake, and it was like, man, Caps and Snakes. So it was like it was perfect. You went out there and did well. Then you joined Don Schumacher Racing. It's like, all right. Now you're a Caps fan. What do? You got to go to Don Schumacher Racing. You got to follow this guy and see how he does. It could go in any direction. Who knows what would have happened? And you've won 50 races.
Yeah, so many forks in the road for looking back at my career, and anybody could say that in life. Whatever job you decided to take, or you had a chance and a fork came in the road, and whether it was lucky or not, something happened, and that's where you are. And every step was it. But John Mitchell was the one that saw something in me and gave me that shot. driving for Snake. I mean, what else can you say? It was unbelievable to have the likes of Dick LaHaye, Roland Leong, Ed McCulloch. I mean, all these guys around all the time. But when I went to Schumacher, it was reunited with Ed the Ace McCulloch, which I didn't know Don had been working on at that time. So when I went to the Brute car, I was double surprised. First, Brute was coming on as a sponsor, but then Ed the Ace McCulloch was going to be my crew chief, and him and Don kept it a secret. So we won a lot of races. I had Tim Richards that I got to work with, which was unbelievable, him and Kim, and we won races. John Medlin was my crew chief for a few races in between there, and we won Sonoma, which, I mean, come on, what we do with Eric Medlin there and to win with John Medlin, that was unbelievable. But, you know, to have Tobler since 2012, Roland Leong early in my career, it just, the fact that we won 50 races at Schumacher with the people that we've had there, it just tells you the caliber of what Don, he wakes up every morning and he wants to go out and crush everybody. So that's a huge number. I didn't even realize that until you just said that. I guess you guys have been saying that since Sunday night, but I didn't realize there was 50 wins till just now.
Yeah, 50 wins as a member of Don Schumacher Racing, which is a big number, a nice round number, a milestone number, and very impressive just thinking about what you have been able to do over your career in the Funny Car Eliminator, which has gotten tougher and tougher every year and continues to get tougher. So, you know, congratulations on that, but let's not end it right there. We've got the big part of the season. So let me transition now to our conversation about, you know, the countdown is coming. Let's focus on Indy. And every time you go to Indy, it's like, you know, Dale Earnhardt with the Daytona 500. You got to answer those questions. But really, most importantly, internally. Coming in, 2 final rounds, feeling good. It's just my assessment is, you know, if the cosmic forces want it to happen, it'll happen. How are you feeling going into Indy?
Well, I told Phil Burgess, it's not, yeah, it's what cosmic forces, yes. I call it the Indy gods. And when the Indy gods decide it's time for me to be able to hold a trophy there, I'm going to be able to do it. We've come so close so many times. Had great cars there where I felt like it was the best car I've ever had at Indy. I've gone in there with mindset of trying so hard it made me sick to my stomach, and I've gone in and said, you know what, approach it like it's any other race. None of those worked to get us in a winner's circle, but we certainly had great races there. So, I mean, look, I've won there on Saturday night. We won the makeup Brainerd race, and I beat John Force on a Saturday night. I've won Sunday on the Big Bud Shootout 3 different times, which is very hard to do. I just haven't won at that track on Monday for the U.S. Nationals. So when it happens, it happens. I'm not going to try too hard. I'm going to go up and approach this year like we did Brainerd and just go one run at a time. And it sounds easy, but when you get there and you feel like you've been there a month, it's an incredible event, and there's a lot going on. And the itinerary that you have when you show up Friday morning of things you got to be in places and autograph sessions and appearances. You're so happy to buckle into the car when all you have to worry about doing is driving. So we're just going to go try to win Indy, and we're in a good spot in 4th in the points. It's points and a half. If we just have a good Indy race, we'll end the regular season in a good spot. We won't be too far behind Robert Hight, and listen, you can win from anywhere in the countdown. That's a fact. It's been proven. So I feel like we're in a great place to go and just focus on trying to win the U.S. Nationals.
Indy's got a pretty decent campground. It's no zoo. Maybe we need to take a motorcade in there for like 45 minutes or something.
Joe, let me tell you something. I'm sure it's good, and I've been to the new area. But the old area, Bill Simpson had some property over where the drive-in was, and we would go there every night like we did the zoo in Brainerd. And you talk about a fun area over by where that was across the street. Great stories, had great times, almost won the race, really felt the mojo. They now moved it over across behind the Sportsman Pits across the road, and we'll take a trip. We go over there at least one night or one early evening, and you have to. You got to go out and feel some mojo. But it's nothing like Brainerd, but the people of Wisconsin have a pretty good area over there with some pretty good brats. So we always make sure we stop in there.
And on that note, let's finish off going in that direction. The U.S. Nationals are next, and this is our biggest race by far, and I'm already feeling the energy already and seeing everybody get excited about it. Like, wow, this race, this marathon, what's about to happen, how exciting. You know, we're always fighting, some people who wish it was, they were still 20 years old again, right? And everything was that way when they were 20. But we all, move along in life. Things are going. But there's a 20-year-old kid that's going to his first U.S. Nationals this year. And he's going to walk out of it thinking it's the greatest thing ever. And it's just amazing to me how this race, across the board, whether we're talking about Nitro Funny Cars or we're talking about Stock Eliminator, just continues to be the biggest drag race and the most significant drag race on the planet year after year.
Yeah, and I would advise anybody going for the first time to pull up some old footage, get on NHRA.tv and look at some old footage, because YouTube, all that stuff, you can go back now and watch Garlits win and shave the beard. You can watch Ace win for the 5th or 6th time or whatever he did. The history of our sport is Indy, and I tell everybody all the time, why is, you get asked, just a casual fan, what makes Indy so big? Why is it the U.S. Nationals? Because you had Garlits in Florida, you had the Snake and Mongoose and Rain for Rent and all the guys on the West Coast, you had Connie Coletta up in the north, you had the guys down the south, Oswald and Candies and Hughes, and you had them spread out. They all bragged about kicking butt in their own part of the country, right?
Right.
And the old days, they'd read drag news, and this guy did that, and this guy did that, and once in a while they traveled from one side to the other. Garlits would come out west. But they all met every year in Indy. It's right in the middle. So that was where it decided who was really the bad hombre. They were the big fish in their little pond, but who was the best? And that's where it started. So there's so much good old footage you can go back and watch, whether it's on the internet or NHRA.tv, that I think you go back and do that, because I joke about it, but it's certainly not a joke. Throughout the years, you could walk in the staging lanes or certain parts of the pit area where it is the same grounds from 1965 when Roland and Snake were racing together, and you could probably pick up a pebble that was run over by Garlits or Connie Coletta, or you pick any of the heroes that we had, and that was probably there and was part of history. And that's what makes that place cool. They've done a lot of cool stuff to upgrade it, but the history of that place is what it's all about.
So exciting, fired up, and just like that, next week we will be there getting ready. The Chevrolet Performance U.S. Nationals, followed by the NHRA Countdown. You guys are ready. It is obvious, back-to-back finals, and got the car right where you want it to be. Ron, thank you so much for giving us a whole breakdown of your victory out there in the Brainerd Zoo, what you said about Jed. Like kind of tying it all together from the morning to the night was a big deal, a lot of fun. I just watched a video of you backing the Wally up at the Cap's Corner. Perfect ending.
That's a car that Jed built for his wife Christy. Actually, cut the top off of it, and we've gone out in the zoo with that so many times. So it was only fitting that we lost Jed, and I was able to take that car out into the zoo with the Wally right on the dashboard. And that was a small clip. There's if you go on the internet and hashtag my name in the zoo, there was a lot of pictures from Sunday night with a lot of fans and with the Wally in it. So that'll make a nice collage.
I am sure it will. Ron, thank you very much. Good luck at the U.S. Nationals. Enjoy the weekend off, whatever you got going. You had the whole family out there, which is cool. I know the kids were stoked to win the race and hang out with you. Good luck at Indy.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Ron. Ron Capps with us here on WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro podcast. One of my favorite interviews because it goes in all kinds of different directions. That was kind of a serious one because of, the reaction time and all that, and I forgot to ask him something. Of course, if you watch right after he won, he got up on the funny car body, and he was ready to do the slide down the hood, and then thought better of it. And thank you, Ron, for not doing such a thing. Thought better of it. That was a good move, Ron. Thought better of it. But very cool. And going out in the zoo with Ron and the motorcade, something I'll talk about during my time at the tail end of the show. But very fun. The Lucas Oil Nationals is a race that is a nice 50-50 mix of intense racing competition and over-the-top fun with everybody. So you definitely want to put it on your bucket list. It's got to be one of your bucket list races at some point, someday. All right. We have got Leah, and we have got Jason Line, plus the tail end of the show, My Time, all coming up. Right now, though, I want to tell you about Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School and the Dragster Adventure, among other things. Here's the thing. The Dragster Adventure for the year is just about sold out. If you want to get on there, you can make it happen, maybe, but I'm looking at it. Auto Club Dragway, Fontana, California, 10 seats left, October 18th. That's it for 2019 dates. Pretty impressive. They've been flying off the shelves, and the holidays are coming, folks, and this will make the best gift you can get, honestly. a high-end gift. Costs $399. That's what the courses start at. But you're giving something that's going to last a lifetime and an experience. Remember, they go around the country. They go to a track near whoever's going to be receiving this gift. Holidays are coming. What I want to do, here we're in August, I want to get way out in front of it, way before Black Friday. Forget about all that other stuff on Touch of Modern. Get them the Dragster Adventure, and you will be locked in forever. They will love you forever. 866-480-7223. You just give them a gift certificate, and they will figure out and sort out the rest with Frank Hawley, like where and which of the races that is closest to them. 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, speeds of 130 in the quarter mile, maybe even side-by-side racing. You and your sales team, you and your buddies, you and your friends, a reward for your great clients. These are all good ideas. It is time to set yourself apart from everybody else. But maybe we're not talking about you being, benevolent. Maybe we're talking about you being selfish. Let's talk about that. Do it. It's time to stop rewarding everybody else for their hard work and reward yourself for your hard work. Do this and experience something that you can't experience anywhere else with as ease and simplicity as they are offering at Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School with the Dragster Adventure. Now, I also know we've got a lot of bracket racers out there, a lot of people who have been racing for a lot of years and maybe don't go a lot of rounds and love what they're doing but can't find their way to the winner's circle. What are you going to do? Well, a lot of drivers out there, they get a coach. You can do that with Frank Hawley. First of all, you can get your Super Comp, Super Gas, or Alcohol Funny Car license there. That is all possible. But they also have programs where you can bring your own car to Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, and he will evaluate you, the car, how you work together, the way it's all set up, and help dial everything in. Why would you not do that? If you're a racer and you're going out and you're paying your entry fee and you're not going a lot of rounds, why would you not look inward? Why would you not look inward and say, you know what, I need an extra set of eyes on this deal? And that's all I'm going to tell you. If you can't figure it out from there, 866-480-7223, frankhawley.com. Tell them you heard about it right here on WFO Radio. When we come back, we're going to hear from Leah, DSR, first win in a long time, and she broke through.
It ain't just wide open, it's WFO.
Hussey Performance copper head gaskets. Do you make big power? That's the question. Hussey Performance specializes in quality copper gaskets to your exact specs. Any bore, any size and thickness. From 500 cubic inch nitro burning Hemis to turbocharged Pro Mods to Honda engines or even big tractors, Hussey Performance makes the gaskets. If you're a racer, you're thinking about, well, how long does this take? Typically, less than a week. They want to help you make the race. Next day shipping is also available. What to do? You got to call David directly, 724-318-8292, or go to husseyperformance.net. And one more thing, it's all made in America, including the machines they use. That is huge. 724-318-8292. 292 Hussey Performance copper head gaskets for you engine builders out there. These guys are supporting WFO. Check them out. It is husseyperformance.net.
Get fired up on the WFO line.
WFO, Joe.
954-889-6796.
Just been an absolute joy to be a drag racing fan.
Go wide open, and your call may be used on the show.
Or preface by saying I'm not a Kurt Busch fan or apologist. I don't know where Greg Anderson's ego has gone, but I know one person that's going to be a big-time villain in pro stock.
That's 954-889-6796. That phone line is always WFO.
If you're looking for extra horsepower, check out WilsonManifolds.com, the leader in intake manifold and nitrous oxide development. They've set records and won championships in just about every series in professional racing. Sprint Cup, Nationwide, Camping World Truck Series, NHRA Pro Stock, right up to the Nitro classes. If you're looking for extra horsepower, check out the leader in intake and nitrous development at WilsonManifolds.com.
WFO Radio is brought to you in part by Extreme Velocity 3 Drag Racing. Download for your mobile device. Win your way on the show. WFO.
Now, back to WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
Welcome back to NHRA Nitro WFO Radio Podcast. And you can get the show wherever you get your podcasts. Stitcher, TuneIn, of course. Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google, of course. Wherever you want it. We post it every week on Facebook. We post it on Twitter. We post it everywhere. But the one-stop shop that you're never, ever going to be let down by is the WFO Radio application. Enable push notifications. You will always hear the show. And all the shows and the full archive is always in there. It is a great way to keep up with WFO Radio. And, of course, our great sponsors like Marvin Rodak and Rodak's Coffee and Grills.com. All kinds of great blends like Funny Car Chaos, the WFO Radio blend, the Schumacher blend, the Capco Scott Palmer Racing Champion blend, which I am drinking here today and enjoying it. Oh, yeah, you get back to the WFO Radio studios, and all of a sudden, you're back to gourmet coffee, and it's amazing as opposed to that hotel stuff, which is free and horrible. But I digress. Go to the website, Rodaks, R-O-D-A-K-S, coffeeandgrills.com. They sell barbecue grills and tools and have tips and recipes. They're a dealer for Primo and Fire Magic. They're located in Fort Worth, Texas. So there is no doubt if you live down there, you should just go to Rodak's, check out the cool shop, check out the cool showroom that they've got, and talk to Marvin. And you'll get to see him roasting coffee, which is amazing. But if you are far off distant lands like sunny South Florida is, you got to go the mail order route, which is fine. Give him a call, 817-924-6821. That's 817-924-6821. And talk to Marvin about the kind of coffee you're interested in, whether it be the exotics, whether it be the drag racing themed blends. But again, I'm getting out way in front of the holidays here, folks, because now is the time to start thinking about it. Am I going to run around to all these different stores and go shopping all over the place for these people? Or am I just going to do something really cool, get Marvin on the case, do the holiday pack with the pound of coffee, the hot sauces, and the spice rub in the one deal? You send it out to your people, and they will love you for many, many weeks, depending on how long it takes them to get through the coffee. The coffee shows up, they open the box, they get the aroma. It's an extra sensory experience. I've been telling you this for a long time. If I haven't broken through yet, you must either hate coffee or you're very, very tough sell. Because I think at some point I would have just broken you down with this. Let me know if that's you, because then I'm going to call your house and kick in another level, another layer. Like we'll go even further. I'll show up. What do they say? Don't take no for an answer. 817-924-6821 for Rodak's Coffee and Grills.com. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Stay tuned to the My Time segment. At the tail end of the show, I'm going to break down my zoo experience. But coming up next, joining us now, she won Top Fuel and broke all kinds of streaks, winless streaks for Don Schumacher Racing and herself, and goes out there, gets the job done. Here she is, Leah. Welcome back to WFO. How are you?
Wonderful. Thank you, Joe. Always good to talk to you during the weekday.
Yes, it means you won. You won something.
That's right. We won something. We won big. I think for us, this is a huge win to win again at Brainerd. So still feeling and enjoying all of that momentum for sure. I
talked to Neil Strasbaugh after it was all over, and he said flat out, first of all, his first win with this team. There's always something special going on just under the surface, and Neil was very fired up about it. But he talked about your driving. He said that you showed up for this race. You drove better than you have. Looking at the reaction times, they were awesome. That 047 against Austin Prock, stepping up when you had to. What was different about this race that everything aligned and you felt so good?
To be honest, there's a lot of things different about this race in particular. It's the last one before Indy. It's really time to get your stuff together, right? I think being able to just focus 100% on just driving. And you might think that you're focused 100% on that, but you're really not until you're able to eliminate and put away other things that are clearly distracting you, or be able to compartmentalize. And I pride myself on that when it comes to driving multiple vehicles at a time. But really what this is, you can wish all you want in the world to cut a good light, but unless you work on that craft and understand what it is that could make you better, then you're just going to have those same results. So just because I've been practicing like I always do, and hats off to Scott Okahara, we've gone round and round with titanium pedals and from a foot pedal, from a toe pedal, to clearing deflection, to a 1/4-inch cable. Every single race, probably for the last 12 races, I've had something mechanically different or trying to do something different. And then finally I was, able to sit down with a friend and you really just try and dive into the basics of what it is that we do, drag racing, staging in a Nitro car. What are our parameters? What are we capable of? What about your competition? What about yourself? Really understanding. And so, unfortunately, we don't get to practice those things. It costs so much to be able to run. So you have to try it in qualifying, and that's what you have. And even you look at it and you go, well, you don't want to mess qualifying up. Well, you know what? You also don't want to mess Indy up, and you don't want to mess the countdown up. So, I texted Don before Q1. I said, look, even though he texts me after every race, but said, look, I'm really trying some wholesale changes in here, so I'm just letting you know, they may or may not work. Just basically asking for patience, and he gave it to me, and has been an incredible team here. And to your point of Neil and Todd have been awesome. We all want the same thing, and that's to be faster, to be better, to improve our package. And when I come down to the ground floor and so look, I'm having a problem, and let's try this, and this. Let's put more sensors on, and let's get to the bottom of this. It just shows that everybody can humble themselves, whether it's from tuning or things that are happening with the car to driving. That let's just clear everything and get down to business, and then get into that extreme intense mindset of having confidence and trying to beat the brakes off of everybody. And it's been a long time since we've been able to say that, and I feel like I could say that for the team because they climbed themselves out of this hole, and then for that, I'm very proud of them.
Spectacular. Let's do your round by round, but I do want to, this weekend, you mentioned that there's I'm going to make it dramatic, right? A mystery person, a friend who's helping you. You're seeking advice from someone. Mike Salinas, too. There's a lot of this going on, right? Getting out of the bubble, maybe, for new information. I just find it to be interesting. Salinas talking about a driver coach, and you said you had someone that, giving you a little pointer, a little advice, someone, we can all imagine who it may or may not be, but this is happening now. People are seeking information wherever they can get it.
I believe because when you reflect inside your own bubble, you're as good as the ones that you have, and you have to go outside of that. Antron has been great, and I understand, what works for him. Tony, he's done a great job of coming over, being with Todd, with myself. We talked during the week, what has worked for him. But if there's one thing about me, usually what works for everybody else, does not work for me in life, in general. I'm an opposite kind of a cat. So when I try other people's scenarios, I don't get their results. And it's just understanding yourself. And I didn't know that Mike was working with somebody, so that's awesome too. And I didn't set out and be okay, I've hired a coach for this week and we're doing this. It was humbling yourself enough to be here's where my mind's at and what's happening. What do you think about this? Or what, in this situation, and it even comes back to factory stock of in my opinion, I have no problem leaving there. Tons of confidence, have a great car. I see a bulb, I leave, no problem. And whatever had been going on. And, a lot of it has to do with personal things in your life. And what comes down for me is racing is my number one priority, winning a championship, being the best driver that I can be for my sponsors. That's no secret. That's always been my MO. And if anything is going to, deter me from that, then we're going to have a problem. And I think being in my happy spot, and that's doing what we did this weekend and winning, the fans, just starting off in the beginning, Friday, there's fans and all drivers will tell you hey, good luck this weekend, or we hope you can do it. But man, they basically convinced every single one of us, this is your weekend again. You're our zoo champion, from 2 years ago, and this is yours. You hear it 100 times, oh my gosh, if you don't do that, then it's not true. So the fans brought a ton of the great energy, the confidence, getting right out of the gate. We talk about this all the time. That Q1 is super important so that you can step it up for Q2, which usually puts you where you're going to qualify for the weekend. And Saturday, you're usually practicing for Sunday. But this weekend was different in the sense that Saturday was much warmer. And you're not going to have any race day conditions of Sunday. We're not like anything qualifying. So you basically got to, quote unquote, practice some things or test some things during qualifying that usually you don't get to do if you don't lay down a hot rod number on the Friday. So for us, and you just asked about we'll go round by round. But I think because strategically Todd and Neil, we were able to get a handle on our clutch wear early on and not have any issues that have been like plaguing us for the last couple races, we could actually get a run at this weekend and give ourselves a fighting chance, and that's exactly what we did.
I just want to point out that you set the table or planted the seed for all that positive energy 2 years ago when you invited like 250 people into your winner circle picture, and I knew at the moment, because I witnessed it happen, they didn't really understand what you were doing, and then they realized, like, oh my gosh, this girl is inviting us into her winner circle picture to be photographed with her, something that does not happen on a regular basis, and that's 200, I don't know how many there were, it felt like 200 people, it was a lot of people, okay, that you planted a seed of positivity with 2 years ago. And it came back right there. That wasn't an accident. That's what happened. Those people, I'm sure, were changed from that moment, all diehard fans. First round, Kyle Wurtzel. Hey, was having a good weekend, Kyle. Ron Douglas was over there consulting with those guys, and they've been going in the right direction. You run a 74-4 and start off. They smoked the tires, which set up a big round 2 run against the Capco team with Billy behind the wheel. That was a very interesting run. It could have gone either way. He had a really strong car to that point, but red lighted and left on nothing. Take me through that.
Right. Well, so Wurtzel, that was a great run, good confidence for us to get out of that first round. You know, we hadn't had too many of those. Was really looking forward to racing Antron second round. So Sunday morning, we always talk about what the ladder is going to look like. Fortunately, Antron wasn't able to move on, and Billy was. And look, I probably know those sheets better than anybody. And Billy's he's a good racer. He's a good leaver. He's very strategic, and he drives that top fuel car like he drives a super comp car. Very methodical. And I'm like, man, I've been sorry, it was a phone call. I've been working at what I'm doing, but I'm still in my mind. I was like, I'm not that 49. I'm not that 53 or that 55 that, you know, Billy and Steve and all of them are capable of just whacking off. So I knew that our car was going to be there. He clearly, I think, what did he run, a 69 or something in the first round?
68.
So he had lane choice.
68, low ET.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut anybody short, but I know something that was much quicker than what we just did. So I got to race Billy twice in qualifying, and I trying to remember everything about what everybody does, and I let him do his thing, and I just switched my game up a little bit. Yeah, I think it was a long light. He was super red, but he was ready to go, and I'll never bag on anybody for that because I've been there, and it's super difficult. And that means that he wanted to beat our team that much. That means that we were a threat to him and that team. And so you take that, as if not slouching, and we go out there and we put down a number and we get lane choice into the semis, and that was a win is a win. And every time you look back on your 4 rounds of how you got there, you got a little bit of luck. And not going to say we needed all that luck, but that was going to be a really good race. I don't know what happened to him, if he smoked tires or if he just lifted and ran a 403 or whatever it might have been. But I'm sure that they came up there, dragging that thing up there to run another 68 or 69 against us. And going into that, we can talk about it here, and I pretend it's just us talking, even though I know we got thousands of listeners. But just in the pit, in that 5 that we had, we're like, hey, it's okay. You know, really don't know it yet, but this is our weekend. And every time we went into another round, we're like, Wurtzel don't know it yet, but this is our weekend. And just, you carry that with you, and then I think that it really shows in the work that you do.
Confidence and motivation are the keys to success. It sounded like you had both pulling on you big time this weekend, but that semifinal matchup now against Austin Prock, who is quickly fighting for top lever in the category, right? He's definitely top 3. He's working on it, got a clear head, aggressive. He'll talk smack. He wants to win. He's got the confidence coming in off his first win. You knew the kid was going to leave, and you had to leave with him, and you did.
Absolutely. And I think what Austin's doing, Dom Perdome, he had a great eye in the situation at hand for Austin to be able to come and become a full-time driver. Is great. He's great for the sport. Him and I've actually spoken with him earlier in the season about damn dog, you've really got it down. I've lost it here a little bit, and we jive back and forth on that, but he's a natural lever. Yeah, I knew I definitely had to bring it, and I don't think that was probably one of the only rounds where I didn't sign with fans or interact with them. I was practicing in the car, which is how I practice in the car. You can only really do it once the motor's stacked, the injector's on, and everything's hooked up to my practice screen with the pedal and all that. So there's not much time, especially on race day, to do it. But I'm like, whatever it takes, I've got it. This has got to be it. So I think the biggest difference is when you go into a situation and there's physiologically, there is a feeling that your body has. And if you're fearful about something, right, or you're lacking confidence or you're a little uneasy, like there are things, you call that nervousness in your body. If you mentally take that and you switch the way that you think about it and turn that fear into excitement about like what could actually be on that other side, if and when you do successfully accomplish whatever act you're about to do, that excitement then changes the way that you perform. And so those are the types of things that I've been working on of thinking about things, like not racing, thinking, oh, if I mess up and we've got, sponsor pockets here to fill, and like, if we don't, we're not going to, we're going to have a hard time. Well, you don't do well, you're not going to have a ride anyway. Like, you better do well and get excited about doing well and get excited about the possibilities of what could actually happen. If we go into this countdown, yeah, we're not going to be up there in top 5 probably. I haven't ran those numbers, but the excitement that we would have a chance at a championship and what could happen if we win a championship this year and what major sponsors, multi-year deals, what could happen if you give everything your all with all of the most positive mindset. So going into that semifinal round against Austin, in my opinion, the toughest competitor of the day, was exciting to be able to stack myself up against him and be like, all right, this is your shot. And we both stayed shallow and we both cut killer lights at 45 and 47. And that's what I needed going into racing Salinas, because who knows what he was going to throw. And you just need, again, you don't get to practice these things. You practice them in the moment as they're happening. It's like the Olympic event every single time.
Absolutely. And I love hearing you talk about, like, I don't want to tell you, I think it's great that you struggled. Okay, that's not what I mean. But, golfers, it's such a mental game, right? And they'll be going good and then they'll lose it and it's gone for a while. And then they'll figure out how to get it back and they'll get it back. You're constantly, fighting against yourself and your own mind. And you mention all these, things that are on your mind, whether it be, sponsorship or next year or your future. And people don't realize, like, that clogs up the pipes. You gotta get rid of it. And it sounded like you just came up with a great methodology to turn something, like nervousness or anxiety into excitement and positivity. And it clearly worked out in terms of your reaction time, setting you up for a great final round against Alan Johnson and Mike Salinas, who what they're capable of.
Absolutely know what they're capable of. And when you take on quote unquote new winners like Austin or Salinas' first win being a 4-wide in Vegas earlier this year, I think it's the same for everybody. Like, once you start winning, the wins keep coming. Look at us in 2017, brand new team together, winning. You know that. The wins keep coming. So you have us, a 26 race deficit. We've barely been able to get out of first round. We had to remind ourselves, like, when's the last time we even got a bonus check? Like, we are in that case, like, the underdogs of momentum up against ones that Salinas, who clearly has it and can build on that. But even that alone wasn't enough to take it away. It's such a cool feeling. You go up there, you're watching Pro Stock against Erica and Jason Line. And Jason Line was a winner the first time I ever won. And I'm a superstitious person. And I'm like, man, I'm trying to see a scoreboard. There's like 1,015 people up there watching the races. And I'm like, if Jason Line wins, I bet we're going to win. Like, just, I'm just a superstitious like that. There, sure as hell, he goes and wins. And then we've got 2 DSR cars in front of us, Caps and Tommy. So that's a guaranteed win right there for DSR. And so then it's just us. It's down to us. And I know that we had the same hot rod tune-up in it that we just had, and I didn't need to do anything. I didn't need to plug it into Mexico to get a good light. I just wanted to have a really good final round and finish the day off with a win, proving that I could do the driving, that they could stack a car together all day long, 4 solid runs. And I'll tell you what, I left. I felt good about it. I heard him over there. Get about half track. I don't hear him anymore. I get about 800 feet. And this thing starts to eat itself alive. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, we're going to drop the crank out of this. And I'm like trying to like basically blow on the windshield to keep going like, no, we were on such a good run. Like, we can't lose the final round. And then the final round when light comes on the left lane. And when I turned out, like, I think the first thing you see, like I turned behind me, I'm like, how are the burst panels going? Like the felt's still on. This thing was like laying over. Did it? I mean, it went 321 and we went at 72.3. But in my opinion, that round was in my mind. I had slowed it down so much that I thought, if he was still chugging along next to me, that he was going to come up and freight train next to me. And he didn't. We were able to keep it together. And we came back, and it wasn't a pretty sight underneath that oil pan, but it was definitely a pretty sight when we got to be in the winner's circle. And again, we took all the fans that stayed there, and I'm challenging the Phoenix fans now, though, because these Brainerd ones are very hardcore. They've been there every single round. They waited at the winner's circle. We took our group photo and shot, and time stood still for me, because these people, these fans, they spend their time, they spend their vacation money, their family time and resources to come out here and have a good time. And when you win on Sunday, it doesn't matter what category you are their champion. And it is a responsibility, not in a bad way, in a good, positive way, to be their champion and give them that love that they have given us for so long. And it happens every race, but for me, for us to be the winners of the animal kingdom for the zoo, and we went back out on Sunday night and actually were able to spend time with them, enjoy some beverages, take some photos, bring the Wally out, do laps around while people are burning couches and all this fun stuff. It was cool, and that for us, that's what the zoo's for. Focus race during the weekend, and then if it all comes together. So I'm super living on the high of it right now, and trying to figure out the very next steps of not even just keeping like a lightning in a bottle, but making more of it and ensuring that this momentum indeed does continue. And I guarantee you, Joe, it definitely is.
Well, I think it's exciting, and I mentioned with Ron Capps earlier, the DSR double, of course, but peaking at the right time, right? The U.S. Nationals is next. This is a race that, when you win it, whoever wins it, their career changes, and they got a new prefix on their name, U.S. Nationals winner. But then the countdown, and you are about to gain, ballpark 700 points or so on the points leader because of the countdown format, the playoffs. Some like it, some don't like it. It is what it is. This is how it goes. Ask the Patriots a couple of years ago. They were perfect going into the Super Bowl, and they lost the Super Bowl. And so that's the way we do things in our sporting world, right? Good, bad, or otherwise, this is what it is. You've qualified for the countdown. So if you can keep this energy going, what do you think is possible?
What do I think is possible? Well, the fact that we'll all be crunched down within 10 once we're in it. But we have to get in it. I follow along with a lot of our competition racers on social media. That's another, right? That's a huge part of what we do to keep our fans engaged. I'm looking at our top fuel, and I think we only have 4, 5. How many do we have locked into the
7. Now it's 7.
7. Oh, yeah. It's down to 7.
Everybody locked in now, except for Austin, Richie, and Terry. But Austin and Richie will probably get in. The final spot in question, Terry McMillan, Scott Palmer, and Billy Torrance all fighting it out. Who knows who will get it? But you're locked in, as indicated by this little Wally on next to your name on NHRA.com.
Well, I'm going to be totally real with you right there because I didn't slap it on there. I did points coming in. Salinas was like 100 and something ahead, and what it took to be able to get into it. I told Neil on Friday, I go, I'm not a points counter. I never have been since juniors because it's not going to change the way that I race or the way that I do things. If it's going to add pressure or take away from it, it shouldn't change the way that you operate. So, well, that's all right. Well, that's awesome.
Welcome to the countdown, Leah Pritchett.
Yeah,
you have made the countdown.
I think we were a little bit busy winning on Sunday to be able to capture through that. And, I have no shame in that game at all because same thing, we're going to go into Indy and we're going to try to win Indy and get ourselves up there on some better positioning for it. But that's awesome. It's a game changer for sure for us. But this is momentum that we've had. And like I said in another interview, like a piece of a puzzle, and we know what the puzzle's supposed to look like, and we're putting it together even though nobody else really does. Now we're finally able to show it, and it doesn't mean that we get to lax at all. We need to continue exactly how we're operating in order to give ourselves that fighting shot. But it's an exciting time, and yep, I know a lot of people might not like the countdown, but to be real, how many people would really watch the end of the season if somebody had a 500, 600, 2 million point lead? You know what I mean? So
well, it's a great debate.
Sport.
Yeah, it is a debate that has raged for a long time, and I know that you're going to be a part of the conversation. Leah, congratulations on your victory. So many different reasons. I know that Don is probably super stoked about having a Top Fuel dragster back in the winner's circle and doing it on a double-up weekend with Ron Cap, so another double. That's great for DSR. But most importantly, the timing of the win right before Indy, right before the countdown, means that you're in the championship conversation once again. And you guys have been working on stuff, and I have great faith in Todd Okahara and Neil and the whole team that you guys are going to bring it when it matters most. It makes me very excited about what we're about to see. Congratulations on your win.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Leah, for coming on WFO Radio. And that is a team that is cresting at just the right time, or certainly came back awake at just the right time. In my recent National Dragster column, It Gets Real, I said, who are going to be the teams that awaken right before Indy? And we have seen a couple come alive and awaken right before Indy. The Coletta Motorsports team, Doug Coletta, Troy Fashing, and those guys, they got through the second round for the first time in a long time. Does that mean they're going to go on and take down the Capco boys in a countdown? Unlikely. But there is life, and that is what matters. And I like the fact that Leah runs Factory Stock Showdown, and I want to see her do well. And I actually think the more involved she is with what's going on out there in the late rounds, the better it is for drag racing. She's got a huge fan base. She knows how to connect. It's great stuff. Leah doing an excellent, excellent job. All right, my time is next. But right now I want to tell you about Hangstafers.com and Hangstafers Metalworking Lubricants. Dr. Hangstafer started it in 1937. Here's the deal, all right? Fact of the matter is they're worldwide. They've got assets all over the world. They have the best available products to improve your metalworking processes. What they do is they manufacture highly refined petroleum, synthetic, and vegetable-based products, whatever your needs. They have the best products available. All around the world, they get the job done. Go to Hangstafers.com or call 800-433-LUBE. What is the point? They're engineered to increase productivity and reduce downtime without compromise to health, safety, and environmental requirements. Simple as that. Their products offer consistent and reliable performance again and again. They improve surface quality and extend tool life. They lower production cost and reduce weight. That's the fact, Jack. 800-433-LUBE. Hangstafers.com, Dr. Hangstafer. Got it right back in 1937, and it's one thing that all the top teams agree upon. Hangstafers Metalworking Lubricants. When we come back, we'll hear from Pro Stock winner Jason Line, who won in his hometown. Jason Line, coming up next on WFO Radio.
Everybody, listen carefully.
Now you listen to me. Why do you listen? WFO, you guys are number one.
Honest. Listen.
Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. Whether you're a bracket racer who wants to get better or a thrill seeker looking to cross it off your bucket list, Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School can put you on the right track. Don't believe me? Tell him, Frank.
No matter how little or how much experience you have, we've got a program for you. So if driving a dragster is on your bucket list, there's no better time than now. And if you'd like to be a pro, well, here's funny car champ, Jack Beckman.
Hey, this is Jack Beckman. Long before I was Fast Jack, I was a bracket racer who went to the Frank Hawley School. The time I spent there was some of the most exciting, intense, and fulfilling moments ever in a race car. I feel the curriculum Frank developed greatly helped me win not only the Super Comp, but also the NHRA Nitro Funny Car Championship. Frank put me on the right track. What are you waiting for?
Call them at 866-480-7223. That's 866-480-7223. Or visit frankhawley.com.
Start your education at full speed with the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Accelerate your career as a high-performance engine builder with classroom instruction and practical hands-on experience in the lab, on the dyno, and at the track. In addition to the blockhead and CNC programs, SAM now offers motorsport, EFI tuning, and an Associates of Applied Science degree. And SAM is a military-friendly school, approved to train veterans and other eligible persons under the GI Bill. Start your education at full speed. Go to samtech.edu today.
Drag Racing Edge. That's the magazine. Subscribe online. Get the issues, $24.95. Keep up with your favorite sport, whether it be NHRA Mellow Yellow, Lucas Oil Series action. They cover drag radial. They cover it all. Drag Racing Edge magazine.
Hey, what's up, WFO Universe? It's Kathy Fisher. Join me along with Joe Castello every Sunday morning on Motor Trend for Performance TV. That's 8:30 a.m. Eastern. We'll see you then.
Now, back to WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
Our Pro Stock winner is next. Jason Line won out there in Brainerd. Such a good race, so much fun. But right now I got to tell you about Magic Dry. MagicDryUS.com, the official organic absorbent of the National Hot Rod Association. And they do such a great job. It wasn't that long ago we were at the Magic Dry Northwest Nationals, and I learned all kinds of great stuff about Magic Dry. First of all, it's made in America. But second of all, they've got these great spill kits. So if you work in a shop, you work in a factory, anything industrial, or even a household use, they've got a spill kit for you. It comes with everything associated that you're going to need to get up anything possible. It handles any viscosity of liquid. It absorbs 560% of its weight in liquid. That's more per pound than anything on the market. It's patented, processed, multi-purpose absorbent. It's made from coconut husk. But here's the thing. It's so much lighter than everything else. It's easy to move around. It's easy to transport. If you're over the road, if you got a trailer, you're worried about going mile after mile with a lot of heavy stuff and that fuel mileage, and you got to carry bag after bag, Magic Dry is a great solution. Give them a call, 833-221-2257. That's 833-221-2257. MagicDryUS.com. You go right to the website, and you can buy right from the website. Just as simple as that. I always say it. If you got a shop, get Magic Dry. If you've got a cat, get Cat Spot. Simple as that. Cat Spot for cats, Magic Dry for racers and for shops. And, of course, they're keeping Scott Palmer on the track, big sponsor of the NHRA, and supporting WFO Radio as well. We appreciate them, and hopefully you'll go out there and check them out. Holidays are coming. MagicDryUS.com. All right. Joining us now, he was the Pro Stock winner out there at the Lucas Oil Nationals. His home race in front of his family and his hometown crowd. They went crazy when the wind light came on the left-hand side of the racetrack. Jason Line. We're extending the party, Jason, till right now. Here we go.
Okay.
Yeah, you can tell that you are so fired up about it.
I am still fired up. It was a fun week. I don't get as fired up as you, maybe, Joe, but it was a really fun weekend, especially the ending, obviously. But and it's always easy to say when things go well. But super cool moment for me because it's obviously been no secret that I've wanted to win at Brainerd in front of my friends and family and enjoy that moment. And I guess it was everything that I thought it would be. And for me, racing, the best and worst part about it is still the people. So it was really fun, and to see all my friends and family as excited as they were. That's really a cool thing to be able to enjoy that with the folks that you care about. So super cool.
Well, getting fired up happens in different ways. Like the soccer guys, they take their shirt off and go running around and twirling it and sliding.
Right.
I don't expect that out of you, but judging by the smile on your face and the way you handled the situation, it was the emotions were kicking on the inside.
Yeah, no doubt. And again, Reinhart said he's going to make me cry on stage, and sometimes when he talks, I want to cry, but there's no crying in racing. So, but really a great moment, and really Alan did a great job as well, because sometimes you don't know how other people perceive, I guess your plight to do something, and it was really cool. It was even the fuel guys, the ones I ran across, they all mentioned it and said something. So it was nice. It was really a fun moment for me. Not that I don't think about those things too often, but it was a cool moment. It really was.
Well, let's dig a little deeper before we get into the round by round, just because I want to know: is it Is it happiness because, man, I'm so excited to share this wonderful moment in front of all the people who helped make it possible and the people who love you so much? Or is it a relief? Like, man, here I am winning all these races everywhere else, multiple championships. I show out everywhere I go. And then I come and I stare into the eyes of the people who love me and help me so much. And I have yet to deliver a victory, and I really want to.
Yeah, I think more that than anything because, again, I mean, I make a lot of people mad probably. So if you can make somebody happy, that's kind of cool. So it was really fun, and I guess it was everything that I had hoped it would be. And as you get older, you get a little more sentimental, I guess, and you realize you're not going to do this forever, and it's not going to last forever. So to be able to have that moment and experience it, it was really great. And my dad was super happy. That's not always easy to do either. So it was just a fun time.
Oh, I can imagine. And I got to meet your dad and your mom, and we did a great social media piece with the two of them about how they got started, how they met, the family, the racing. They told me this fantastic story about you and your brother and everybody out there. We went over and talked to Jason and Lance about it. They confirmed the story. They had their own slightly different version of it, and you'll see that on NHRA social media real soon. But it was like a line fest this weekend.
Yeah, no, it was for sure. And, that particular racetrack's been a big part of our lives forever. And so... yeah, just a cool moment. I mean, I know I've told you this story before. My dad raced at the very first event they ever had there, and still has the same car, and that's kind of a cool story as well. And I'm sure I went there. From my earliest memories of going there is, sometime in the early 70s, but I probably went there in as early as 1970 as a baby. So. Yeah, just a great place. I had a lot of firsts there, so fun place for sure.
All you drag strip operators out there, take note. You got to work hard to keep the track alive because it is a big part of your community, more so than a business. It is, where emotions and memories and things happen. You guys dominated qualifying in a way that rarely happens. It doesn't happen on a regular basis at all. It is a rare thing to get the top 3 points or 3 points in every qualifying session. And I'm wondering, did you bring something special for this race? Is like this one circled on the calendar? Like I know you guys make a lot of horsepower with everything. You're always hunting and searching, and I know that routine, but it seemed like you brought out something extra. Or did it just work out? Which is it?
Yeah, we had made one small change before we got there, but really... wasn't expecting that. I actually thought we would be off a little bit, and we'd have to sort of tune into it. But no, I think I'm going to call it just a little bit of racing luck because we showed up there and the car was just extremely happy. And I couldn't tell you the last time somebody, managed to reel in all the qualifying points. I don't know when that happened last. I don't recall because. All the Pro Stock cars right now, everybody's so close that it's really almost an impossible task. So, and it was for us as well. We got one of those, 3 of those points by speed, and a really small amount of speed at that. So, just a little bit of luck, and the racing gods, for whatever reason, smiled upon us this weekend, and we just had a great weekend.
All right, let's do the round by round. Round 1, eliminations. You got to go up against Wally Stroop. We talked about it on the stage. He's got a KB engine. What did you guys have, 6 or 7 engines in the final field? I know a lot, and so you guys had to be hustling, and your workforce is obviously expanding, but it's good news because a lot of people are able to race Pro Stock at a very high level that wouldn't necessarily, or you're making it easier on them. Wally is an example of that, getting better every time out, and you had to dispatch him first round.
Yeah, Wally's a great guy. He had he gave me a hard time actually because we don't live that far apart, and he's a great fella. And he said, when I moved to North Carolina, they welcomed me with open arms, and they did not do the same for him at the border. They detained him at the border, and he had a hard time. And in fact, I had to send one of my truck driving buddies to go pick up his rig and get him get him to the racetrack. So
really, what his Wally Stroop's trailer was halted?
Yeah, they didn't like his toter home, and they said, "Hey, you got to have a CDL to drive this thing," and because they really gave him a hard time. I don't know. I guess maybe he was smarting off to him. I don't know, but they did not welcome him with open arms anyway. So I kind of felt bad. He had a rough weekend, but not bad enough to let him win, but bad nonetheless. So, but yeah, Wally's a great guy, and he's trying hard, and he's going to keep getting better. There's no question. He can certainly drive a race car. That's not a problem. Pro stock is its own special deal, like all the classes are, and to get towards the top is it takes a lot of different parts of the recipe to make it happen. Anyway, managed to get by Wally, so that was good.
7 engines, is that what it is? I've counted them up. It's 7 engines in the field, so almost half the field is KB Power. That is a departure from back in the day when it was just you guys, but it seems like you've adjusted to the additional workload.
Well, yeah, we are adjusting, yeah. It's, times are changing. You got to change with it or you become a dinosaur, so... and we're not quite ready for the dinosaur status yet, so we're doing whatever we have to do to keep things going, and it's fun. Certainly being involved with new people makes it interesting.
I love that. That's coded language, and I know the coded language. It's obvious. It's chasing line. Second round, Alex Laughlin, the competition. Greg and Alex raced first round. We had them on the stage as our marquee matchup, and Greg did not get down the racetrack, and I'm sure was very annoyed he didn't get the chance at the all-Minnesota matchup in the second round. I didn't
notice.
Yeah, exactly. And you had to go up against Alex. He left first, won the race with a 6:58, low of the second round as well.
Yeah, Alex he's had my number lately, so it was nice to get by him for sure. So and his car's been fantastic lately. He faltered a little bit this weekend as well. Him and Greg both, they probably had the two best cars the last few weeks, and suddenly you show up here and it's not that way anymore. So it's really kind of crazy, the difference between being good and just an also ran is not a lot of difference. So. But managed to get by Alex and with a date with Kramer next.
Right, and he goes red, which is kind of a shock. He's one of the great levers out there, but kind of deep red. And you're 59.0. Does that come? And maybe he told you, maybe he didn't. But seeing that Jason's running low ET every round, you got to get a little extra on the starting line.
I think it was more of a crew chief malfunction on their part. I think it was
Heiner.
I think it was Michael. Yeah, I think it was Michael Heiner's fault. I think he likes to bet, first of all, which betting is not his forte. He just hasn't figured that out yet. But I'm pretty sure he made some changes to the car that made that happen. So we're going with Michael on this one, and fortunately it worked out good for us. And on to the final. So I was very excited about being in the final. Obviously. Knowing that you're going to race Erica, that's a daunting task in itself because she, and I do give her high praise because she's, whether you like her or don't like her, much like Greg, she's a great driver and she's does a heck of a good job with her left foot. So, it's tough to match her. Honestly, she's quicker than me always, and I just dug as deep as I could, and fortunately, it was enough.
Yes. Well, I want to ask you about that. Like, is that always there to dig down and get? Like, you didn't need it in the early rounds, or that was just something extra?
Sometimes I dig deep down, and I come up with a 70. So, it just happened to be. I mean, I did. I've been working on it. I've been trying to do a better job here lately, and for me, it's tough. I don't focus as well as I used to, and I have to put more effort into it. But I've been trying, and it's not about thinking; it's about reacting. And when I left, I thought I was okay, but I didn't know I was that good. Sometimes you can tell if you're really good. I think the boys gave me a little something extra for that run as well. So, I looked over in high gear, which I don't normally do, and I said maybe a couple not so nice words because I really couldn't tell. I thought maybe she was just smidge ahead. It's hard to say at that speed. You only can do is glance over, and I couldn't tell the difference, but it looked like she was actually creeping on me a little bit. So I was a little surprised when the wind light came on, to be honest.
Wow, yeah. Well, 6:59.7 to her 6:60 with a 4. She's 0:14, you're 0:16. So you guys left together for the most part, but you won the race, and that's it. And all of a sudden, the wind light comes on, and all of this struggle and toil and the questions about what and when and why not and all that, it's all in the rearview mirror. She comes over, gives you a hug. That was a great moment. The media center, you said flat out that, as you said it a minute ago, and I wonder about that. As you get older, ... You appreciate things more. You realize that maybe petty feuds of the past are being replaced by mutual respect. All of that. It seemed cool that all that came out with this win.
Well, I'm too old to be angry, so yeah. I mean, I want to enjoy the moment because you don't know how long it's going to last. And yeah, I'm not a big hugger, but she knows that, and so that's her way of having a little fun with me. So. But yeah, I mean, I have respect for most everybody out there doing it. So, and like I say, stars might lie, but the numbers don't. And she has done a phenomenal job with the starting line. So my goal is just to try to get close and hope we had enough smoke under the hood to get around her. So, and this time we did. She's beat me plenty of times though. So, nice ending for me.
And in the point standings, up to 4th, which now we're getting to critical times in that you're positioning in the countdown. Those are free points, right? Points that you can go out and get if you can get as high as you possibly can. The U.S. Nationals are next. I know you're stoked about that. For stock eliminator, class eliminations, of course, early on in the event. And then here we are, countdown time. That's one thing that's cool about Brainerd is that it's like the final race where there's not a whole lot of extra pressure and intensity, unless, of course, you live there.
Yeah, well, a couple of reasons for me. My dad he likes streaks and he likes numbers, so he likes to bring up the fact that we've won a race every year, and that is a cool streak. And again, I'm not really into that sort of thing. I don't care if someday I'll stop and think about it, but right now it's that's not really on my mind, but it's cool to have it continue, and then he can stop talking about it. So, or at least talk about it in a positive way.
Right, streak continues.
Yeah, exactly. So it was nice from that perspective as well. But yeah, Indy. So Bo doesn't qualify at Indy, and we win the race, and it's points and a half, and we go out of there with the. I don't know. I'm not sure if we can actually do that. Have the lead, but
yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, you could. You're only 100 behind. You're only 100 behind.
So yeah, Bo doesn't qualify. We win the race, and we come out of there with the lead. So that's not going to happen. But no. But anyway, you want to be as high as you can when this deal starts, and give yourself the best shot. And obviously having momentum is a huge deal. So it's a big thing. So. Whatever, and just happy and enjoy the moment and try to get ready for next week.
Is the stalker going to go in the 9s?
No, I don't think so. I don't think I got enough yet. So 10-0 something. That's my prediction, I guess. So we'll see. I haven't been able to put the effort into it that I had hoped I would. So I got what I got. If it's enough, that's great. If it's not, then you keep digging. It gives you something to shoot for next year.
Well, exactly. All right, let me ask you, while we got you for a few more minutes, two things going on. One of the customer cars, Fernando Quadra and Kenny Delco, within 3 points each of that final position. Honestly, Val Smeeland is in the mix as well. And so that's an exciting battle at the back half of Pro Stock for the 10th position. That involves one of your customer cars. I want to loop that into a greater discussion of Pro Stock in general. All right, the cutback season. It's not what you guys initially wanted because you, of course, would love to go racing every single weekend. But we've had full fields every race, and at some races as many as 20 cars and maybe even more on the way. I don't know. I feel like Pro Stock has not only turned a corner, but I'm feeling a resurgence in energy, participation, and even fan, care about. What say you?
Yeah, I can't argue with you. And as far as the fans go, I mean, there's no question that I think we have more fans than what the NHRA thought we did. And, going to those venues missing the venues that we did, I think absolutely proved that, because it did not get a lot of positive feedback on that. And certainly, you think there's no Pro Stock fans, then you didn't watch the final at Brainerd, that's for sure. So, I think there's a lot of fans, and I think I can't argue with you. I think that's an accurate assessment, and I think there's still a lot of people that still want to race. It's just an expensive sport, and it's tough to come up with the funding and the recipe to do it. It's not easy. So, but yeah, there's still a lot of folks that want to do it, and there's still a lot of folks that want to watch it. So we'll see where it goes. But I think it's in better shape than it was 2 years ago. So the shortened schedule, personally, I like it. Is it good for business? No, it's not. But it does give me some time, at home, because I've been doing this a long time, and to have a little more time to spend with my kids while they're still young and still want to spend time with me, that's not a bad thing. So, but it's not about me. It's about the good of the whole sport. And I think right now you'd have a hard time saying it was a bad move. So I think we'll just leave it at that.
I agree. Well, we did a Facebook Live with Erica, and somebody mentioned, NHRA's ruined Pro Stock. It's all Camaros. And we started to talk about that. And first of all, now we got a couple of Mustangs that are out. But what she went on to say is how all the teams have worked together across, I'm going to say party lines, right? Across lines to do things to make it less expensive, easier to do, more accessible, and we're starting to see the fruit of that labor. And, if you want to get in, now is the time. And I thought that was pretty intense. And then you guys both make the final.
Well, yeah, and certainly it's not NHRA's fault that there's mostly Camaros out there. So, if you want to blame somebody, blame the people who are building the other stuff. So, you can't blame NHRA for that. That's no more their fault than it is, Trump's. So, I think there's reasons for it, but there's a lot of people that it's a difficult task, and if anybody thinks it's easy, then they've never done it. So I think NHRA's done the best job that they know how to do at trying to make it all fit and work. But GM has done a good job, and I think the other manufacturers, I think they did as well. Just there's a lot of little things that make it really hard to do, and those same engines in somebody else's hand, I'm not so sure that they couldn't be as good. So again, it's certainly not hacking on those guys either. It's just a tough thing to do. And until you've done it, you can't imagine what a monumental task it really is. So I think it's easy to sit back and blame somebody else, but the truth is it's way more complicated than that.
And you dedicated the win to Roger Allen.
I did. Roger's been super good to us and super good to me personally, and I consider him a good friend. And he's tough on me, but I consider him a good friend. And I don't know. I don't like to talk to him. Speak of him as Roger Allen. I like to speak of him as Bruce Allen's brother. So that's more fun for me. So, but Roger's a great guy, and again, I've learned a lot from him about a lot of different things. So, wanted to give him that Wally, and I'm going to give it to him at Indy, and just a small way of, I guess, letting him know that I appreciate what he's done.
Excellent stuff. I wish you great congratulations on this very personal victory out there at the Lucas Oil Nationals. Let me ask you one more question, though, just totally shifting gears in a total different direction. Whiplash moment, but I got to do it because, KB Racing now building big-time horsepower in the Samtec Factory Stock Showdown, these boosted, blown engines, small blocks, all that stuff. And we get ready for a 32-car field coming up at Indy. And I kind of want your opinion where that thing is and where it's going and, the expansion and how do you like working on the engines? And, of course, you mentioned Roger Allen as a Chevrolet. They're very behind it. What say you about what you guys have been able to do? Pete Gasco's car, it looks really quick and fast. So it seems like right at the early edge of your learning curve with it, you guys are figuring out how to make power.
Well, we've definitely made progress. Yeah, I mean, the last couple of races that Pete attended, he skipped one, but he was certainly as good as any of the other GM cars. So he's made progress. We've made a little progress, and we're by no means experts at it by any stretch of the imagination. But yeah, we've learned a lot, and it's been a fun project. So hopefully we're working on some new stuff. Hopefully between Pete and our other two guys, Kevin Lumsden and Kramer, they can have a good showing. So I think they're super cool cars. I'm not sure that I don't want to race one, but
why do you say that?
Well, because I got enough work as it is, but they're not. I think people think of stock eliminator as kind of an entry level class, and that thing is anything but entry level. It's a pro stocker in stocker clothing. So a lot of work, that's for sure. But you want a challenge? There it is. Jump on in, because it's definitely a challenge. But super cool cars, and big smoke, lots of power. They make not pro stock power, but they're not far off, and they're definitely cool cars.
I love hearing you say that. It's a pro stocker and stock eliminator clothing. It's not entry level. There's all these discussions about what to do, right, to prevent it from becoming like an out of control thing, and restrict this and limit this and spec this, spec that. Do you have they're deciding all these things right now, and I'm going to use this audio in the Factory Stock podcast that I put out for those listeners specifically. Is there a direction you want it to go?
Well, I certainly don't want everything to be a spec class, because if it's all the same, then just go buy yourself a brand new and drive it to the track and go race it. So you don't want that. You still got to be able to put your individual twist on it, and you got to be able to have a little bit of latitude to make it better than it was. And all the OEMs, they give you a little bit of room there to work on it. So and that's what sets you apart. That's what racing is. Racing is not about every single piece being identical. So I don't like the idea of spec things. I think you have to have some rules in place, but typically what happens is the more rules you put on it, the more expensive it actually gets, not cheaper. And I just I like the idea of being able to bring more people in from both the participant standpoint and also from a vendor standpoint, because that grows the sport. So, one of the talks was everybody run the same ECU. Well, I don't like that idea, and I love the Holley ECU, but I also love the big stuff. And I might love a Fuel Tech or whatever. I don't know, but I've never used it. But I think the opportunity for those folks to be in our sport, I think it's important. So. I think that having everybody have the same spec part is not healthy for the continuance of the class.
And there you go. Excellent. And I appreciate that, and I value your opinion.
Just my 2 cents.
Well, that's all I wanted. I just wanted your 2 cents. But it carries a lot of weight, Jason, and I think you know that. It's I agree. More participation on both sides, the better, whether it be marketing or promoting or that whole competition that happens among manufacturers through you guys, the racers. Like, that's what makes it fun.
I agree. I think it's super important. And, granted, you don't want somebody to go out there, pounding everybody into the ground by 0.2, but if somebody can be a couple hundreds faster or a few hundreds faster by some little niche idea or thing that they came up with, then that's what racing is about. It brings a little bit of innovation and some creativity into it, within the spirit of the rules. So I think I just think it's not healthy to have everybody have the exact same piece. At that point, we make everybody have a red car and with the same wheels, and I don't like that idea. If I want to put a Race Star wheel on mine, I don't want to have to run some other brand. So I think it's important that we all have a little bit of latitude to do our own thing.
Excellent. I appreciate the opinion. I appreciate you weighing in on Samtech Factory Stock. Jason, congratulations. 49th career Pro Stock victory. So you get a milestone out of the way just to earn the opportunity to chase another milestone. The next run will be a big 5-0 victories in the NHRA Mellow Yellow Drag Racing Series. That is a huge, huge deal. Always love seeing racers, how they handle being up against that milestone. It's going to be fun to watch. Good luck at the U.S. Nationals, both in stock and in Pro Stock. Thank you for coming on WFO Radio, and congrats on this big family victory.
You bet. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jason. Jason Line with us here on WFO Radio Podcast following a massive victory in his career. And all I can tell you is that there are moments that I will always remember. John Force's 150, I will always remember. Clay Milliken's first victory, I will always remember. Jason has been very helpful to me over the years, just with motivation about my Pontiac Super Street car, my bracket car. And, I like the guy. I get his whole attitude and persona. It's fun, it's funny, that kind of deal. Self-deprecating, kind of a dry humor. I get it. But he walked into the media center with this beaming smile, like he had just won. Like, I don't know. I think that's what I would feel if I won the lottery. Maybe not even that big. It was just the ultimate, the aura of accomplishment and pride and satisfaction and family and all of these things. His son Jack is there, and just greatness. That's what it's all about. That's the reason. And it's sad that not all the race fans stick around to see that moment. You know, they see the cars go fast, but the winner's circle, they got to go battle the traffic or whatever they're going to do. But I feel like it's still going on. I could hear him still smiling here on WFO Radio. Congratulations, Jason. Great job, great work. And all kinds of good stuff out there. Now, during my time, I'll tell you some of the stories. Final segment coming up. We're going to take one more break. I got to tell you about Hussey Performance. Quality copper head gaskets. Here's the deal. Pick up the phone. Call David Allen, 724-318-8292. They're located in Ambridge, Pennsylvania. They make the best copper head gaskets in the business, certainly the most accurate. They stock them in 1,000th of an inch increments. Coming in from race weekend, right? Thinking thousandths of a second. But the tolerances are half a thou, and they are used by some of the best in the business, including Sean Bellemere and the Bartone brothers, etc. A lot of racers use Hussey Performance gaskets. Give them a call, 724-318-8292, whether it be a Honda or a Pro Mod, whether it be a Tractor Pro or a Nitro engine. Hussey Performance makes the gaskets. That's HusseyPerformance.net. We'll be back after this with My Time.
This is WFO Radio.
The dog days of summer, and boy, is it hot. But let me tell you, I love starting every day off with a little Rodax coffee and grills.com. That's right, Marvin Rodak and his gourmet coffee right from Texas. The WFO Radio Blend, the Bang the Blower. Over 40 single original coffees to choose from that are all roasted fresh per your order. They've got the Kopi Luwak, the exotics. They represent the top 5% of coffee grown throughout the world. He's been doing it since 1976, and he is sitting there right next to the phone right now waiting for your call. 817-924-6821. I love it. It's great stuff. You should definitely give it a try. And if you're grilling on the weekends, try some A26 award-winning spice rub. Try some of the Habanero Endorphin Booster hot sauce and the other 3 great blends of hot sauce Marvin's got. He's got coffee wood. He's got recipes and tips for grilling. Check out the website, RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com. But most importantly, give him a call, 817-924-6821 or RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com.
Android and iPhone users, download the WFO Radio app. It's sports radio for racing fans.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
The ultimate racing show, including WFO Radio NHRA Nitro, WFO Radio Ignition, the WFO Radio NASCAR Tailgate Party, news, videos, push notifications, and more.
I just hope I'm part of it.
Go to the App Store or Android Market, search WFO Radio, and download it now.
This is Sean from Traverse City, Michigan. You ever get done with an episode of Ignition or Nitro and say, man, that's a good job. I'd like to give them a pat on the back and a cold beer. Well, with Patreon, you can. So send that drink down to Gio and Joe.
Now, back to WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
Welcome back, NHRA Nitro Podcast, final segment, brought to you by Patreon.com/WFO Radio, where a select group of listeners have elected, for one reason or another, to support the show directly through Patreon in exchange for doing this show and, of course, the Ignition podcast and occasional added content. And, maybe this week they'll get some added content. Who knows? From the zoo. I don't know. It's interesting. Now, I did do some recording from the zoo with Cousin Donnie, as in Drink Hard Racing's Dr. Don. We went out there, and it was a good time. But I don't know. It's not making it to the air. It's just not. It's too bad audio quality. The audio quality is a little too sketchy. Patreon, on the other hand, they're paying for sketchy. No standards necessary. But we had a good time. Here's the thing, okay? The zoo. Every year, the first year I went, just had an amazing time, lost my phone, was blown away. Then a couple years in, coined the phrase, don't be a zoosh. Did not encounter any zooshes this time. Did hear a story about a zoosh who was immediately handled with, what is it called? Frontier justice. So that was interesting. It was a fantastic time. Friday, Saturday, the great people out there. That's the thing. It's like 99.9% of the people are there to blow off steam, have a good time, show off their creativity. People don't realize that the creativity of the vehicles, there was one giant party float bus thing, and it had a 70-inch television on the front with a camera pointed frontward. So if you were on the TV, you were about to get run over. It was just super fun, and going from place to place and the different people, and you haven't seen people since last year in the zoo. Total bucket list item. Now, I did hear from someone who has been to Talladega and all of the different associated campgrounds, etc., and had never been to the zoo. And so I told her, I said, hey, you should go into the zoo and just give me a report, because I have not been to the Talladega craziness. I haven't. And so I can't say for all honesty. And in fact, I first heard of the zoo when I was on XM Satellite Radio on NASCAR Radio, and we were talking about how much fun Talladega sounded, that everybody got into it, and it was crazy, and there was all kinds of wild stuff and fun, and people like just, enjoying each other and letting loose and all of that. And people called in and said, yeah, but the Brainerd Zoo is more intense. And I was like, I didn't know about the zoo. And I didn't. When I used to go to one NHRA national event a year, how would I know about the zoo? Like I was a mainstream guy. And now I'm like underground a little bit. And it's like, oh, wow. So is the zoo better than Talladega? I don't know. How could I possibly know such a thing? And I would admit I'd probably be a little bit biased, right, to the drag racing. Slightly, because I love all forms of racing and I feel like I can be fair. But I think I'd be a little biased. So I asked someone who went to Talladega and has experienced it and lived it and done the whole thing to go to the zoo. And they went into the zoo and gave me a report. And the report said something like this. I'll paraphrase. Much bigger and more creative. On fun, like the wildness, on par with one another. But there's more zoo and it's more creative. Like people go further along to come up with creative projects to display in the zoo. And I know that there are people working on their zoo floats for 2020 right now. And that's all you can ask. The idea, and I have a great video that I will be posting on probably the WFO Radio Facebook page, because I'm always trying to drive traffic to the WFO Radio Facebook page. And it's of Camp Pallet and Scott Palmer with his nitro-fueled margarita mixer. It's not his, it's one of his close friends. Nitro-fueled margarita mixer. And so they've got this mixer, and they're getting ready to start it. Todd Haas is out there getting ready to start it. And it's this amazing sense of community. But it's also very Mad Max. There's a giant fire raging in the background. Embers from the fire flying through the air. Red Solo cups in the hands of just about everyone. If not that, then their Camp Pallet koozie. And this Nitro engine sits alone with people kind of hovering over it. Shimmering in the light, faces slightly illuminated by the fire. Faces of drag racing celebrities, the likes of which I will not mention. But very significant people, taking in the moment, enjoying, putting competition on the back burner, putting fun and camaraderie on the front burner, and then they light it, and the cackle of Nitro interrupts the night, and everyone is just watching and few throttle whacks. And suddenly people are coming up and getting to whack the throttle, and then it leans out, header flames, goes silent, the cheer of the crowd, and then margaritas are served. And people walking up one by one to receive their margarita mixed by Nitro and enjoying the camaraderie. That is a Camp Palette Zoo 2019 experience. It was awesome. Judges, another one of the big bars. Go there. Who's there? Bruno is there. And Steve Torrance is there. And Jeggy is there. They are filming. And the incredibly talented Lauren Adams, by the way, who shoots all that stuff. And hopefully you guys would know or get to know. I know that, a lot of the backstage people shun the credit and the spotlight. But such a talented individual, shoots all of that stuff, all the slow-mo stuff, all the artsy stuff. If you watch something on the broadcast and you say, man, that was really good, that was artful, that's Lauren. She does that. And they're shooting it. And all of a sudden, man, it's we're right there. We're extras in the background. Me and Jason Logan wearing our brand new WFO radio t-shirts purchased over at Nitro Fish Trailer. And they are also available online. And hopefully everybody will rock their WFO shirts out at the U.S. Nationals. And I'll say Saturday should be WFO Shirt Day because Bo Butner has proven to be undefeated in the WFO radio t-shirt. Sonoma, Saturday, Super Gas, undefeated. Went on to Sunday race day. Then Brainerd, Saturday. WFO t-shirt. Undefeated. Goes on to Sunday race day. If you're a racer, a bracket racer, a Lucas Oil racer, that should be enough to get your mojo going to try to get one of these WFO radio t-shirts. Jason Logan, myself, find ourselves so lucky to be in the background of the Fox Sports production of Steve, Jeggy, and Bruno going out and funneling Mellow Yellow. Yeah, they were funneling Mellow Yellow. But still, it's a TV bit. They're not funneling beer. These guys aren't getting, wasted. It's a bit. They're out there having fun. Notice they had to put up 6 different times. This is a parody. Everyone's a parody. They're just joking around. It's not a parody. These guys aren't really doing this. But, of course, some people were. And so after the bit was over, and I'm right there in the background as an extra. You guys can see me and Jason Logan, Team Melio. And after that's over, it got wild. It got rowdy. There were a lot of people, a lot of significant people, having a great time. Just kicking back, enjoying it, having fun. No Zooshes, not there. That was Friday. Saturday, the Caps deal. Rolling out like the presidential motorcade. No joke. Caps in the lead. Napa flag adorned vehicle. Is it a Polaris? I don't know what it was. I'm back there somewhere riding with cousin Donnie. Dr. Don from Drink Hard. We're all thinking about Bob Kuhar, by the way. Rest in peace, Bob. The whole weekend had Bob Kuhar threads running right through it the whole time. Very, very unfortunate and sad, but makes you want to have more fun. Makes you want to go a little harder because, you don't know. You don't know. Like the Stock Eliminator winner, Knutson. His dad passed away 1998 or 1999 after he had won the race. He won the race in 98, figure around August, died of cancer in 1999. His son, here in 2019, wins in the same car. It's as cool as it gets, but also a reminder. And yeah, it's a little morbid that we're always reminding each other that our time is limited. Except, you know what? Our time is limited. Do what you can. So we go out, we go to the zoo, we're out there at one of the bars, and everyone is having a good time, and all kinds of fun is being had, and just, drinks from the surfboard, and craziness, chaos, mayhem. like a wild college party, except everybody you know. So much fun, and you're all invited. You just got to go to the zoo. But then the phones come out and start noticing the weather radar. And the weather radar, it's like there is a massive storm coming through here. Gully washer, going to be intense. And the zoo is not conducive to water. It's like dirt trails and limited grass, and water will make it mud, and there'll be a flood, and people's tents will get full of water, and people will get stuck. All these vehicles just driving around. Like, what happens when it rains? And I don't want to find out. Fortunately, Caps is up on it. Everybody's up on it. Here it comes. A couple of drops. Jump into the vehicles. And this is the best part, because we're not the only ones with this fantastic idea to escape, to get out of there, to head back to shelter. And so Caps is in the lead, and we're all in this convoy, and it's like the presidential motorcade going through a city. Do they stop at intersections? No, they do not. There are intersections. The zoo has got its own flow, its own traffic flow, and occasionally there are merge points, and there are intersections. And, of course, all intersection rules you typically apply, unless, of course, the presidential motorcade is coming through. Then certain other additional rules apply, like president coming through, man. King of the zoo, clear out. And blazed right through. It was awesome to be able to be a part of something like that, because you may or may not know, but I am never going to be part of the presidential motorcade. I know. You probably thought maybe someday he'll run. I'm announcing, not happening. Probably not. House of Representatives, maybe at some point. I'll be a carpetbagger somewhere later in life. But not now. But to see pulling out into the other lane, blazing right through with understanding, here comes Caps. And we escaped the zoo just as a very intense rain came down. And I don't know, I'm going to guess. I'm going to play amateur meteorologist here. 4 inches. 2.5 to 4 inches. A lot of rain, man. A lot. Came down in the course of 1 hour. Hard. And so it was fortunate that we escaped. And that was Zoo 2019. Great times. Met a lot of good people. A lot of WFO radio listeners. Like, if you are a WFO radio listener at Judges, several people coming up saying hello in the very nicest way. Names. Don't remember all the names. Remember the moment, though. Took some photographs. By all means, tag me in those photos. Good times were had by all. Good times were had by all. And you know what? I've decided after all of this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the audio of the first of the zoo reports. We're heading out into the night. Myself and Cousin Donnie. WFO in the zoo. Cousin Donnie. Good. Dr. Don, how you doing?
Excellent. Zoo number 1.
What's going on now? What's the set the scene?
Just entering the zoo zone.
The zoo zone. Caps is leading the way.
Caps leading the way, which is also dangerous. And we're going to see what happens. We're going to try to keep it legal, safe as possible, fun as possible, of course.
Absolutely.
And then, anything can happen in the zoo, and it usually does.
Saturday night.
You'll see it all, and you'll see it tonight.
That is a fact. All right. Report number 1 in the books.
Report 1. Over and out.
Report 1 over and out. There it is. Cousin Donnie, Dr. Don. But a great time was had. Great life experience. People say that it's a bucket list track. It absolutely should be. A little bit of a challenge. You fly to Minneapolis. It's a 3-hour flight. You fly to Minneapolis, and it's a 3-hour drive up to Brainerd. But the people are wonderful. They're very nice. They know they're drag racing. They care about their drag racing. The crowd went wild when Jason won that deal. Like a huge roar of the crowd. Not that they're rooting against Erica, but when Erica won in Houston, I heard an intense roar of the crowd. This is a couple of years back. Audible, something you don't ever hear in drag racing. You never hear a unified cheer. Because there are so many different drivers and so many different fans, it's rare that one driver would have such a fan base that you could hear an audible roar of the crowd. Jason Line wins in Brainerd. John Force wins 150 in Seattle. Clay Milliken wins his first race in Tennessee. Erica wins down in Houston. Those are big crowd cheer moments. And this was one of them. They know their stuff. Great people. I didn't see Gareth, though. What's up, Gareth? Where were you? but that's a different story. Had a great time. Next, Chevrolet Performance U.S. Nationals. The big go. Lately, I've seen people try to diminish the sport of drag racing. Try hard to diminish. On the Facebook about Pro Stock, NHRA.TV, just, negativity, but just choosing to put forward negativity. It's a choice. You choose to put forth negativity. It's a societal problem. It's probably our greatest problem in America. People who are angry, sad, disappointed, more off than they're happy, positive, and satisfied. And they attack many different things, whatever it is. If you like whatever, there's someone who hates whatever. But the drag racing fans, there are, I would say 80%, 90% of the fans, or 100% of the fans are positive bees. They go out there and they've got positive energy and they're flying around doing their part, best as they can, enjoying what it is. And then you've got a small percentage, a teeny tiny fraction that, man, they're negative dudes. And you know what? Not fans. Not fans. Got into it today about NHRA.TV. Here's the thing. NHRA.TV, $26 for the whole indie show. Okay? Let's say you're not an NHRA.TV subscriber like I am and my dad is and everybody that I know is. You didn't subscribe for the whole year. You just want indie. $26. So is it a lot or is it a little? Well, if you want to watch Super Stock and Stock Eliminator, class eliminations called by Fox Sports' Brian Loans and NHRA's Alan Reinhart, two of the premier drag racing intellects / voices on the planet, if not the two premier drag racing voices on the planet, with the greatest collection of automobiles that race on the planet. That's not good enough for you. In addition to Wednesday's time runs, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Mellow Yellow series, and all the hijinks that we get into, plus Monday on, the at-track feed. Not the TV show, which is great. This is a supplement. You see other stuff. If that's not worth it to you, I didn't calculate how many cents it is an hour. You figure 8 hours a day times 6 days divided by 26. Do it up. I don't think you're a fan. I just don't think you're a fan. Fan stands for fanatic, right? So if you've got that kind of negativity in you, no, it's horrible, which is what I encountered. The NHRA.TV product, I am intimately involved with this because I'm the guy who gets the complaints. I'm the one who has to see the fans. I'm the one who puts out my Facebook and my Twitter and my Instagram and my email. And I go down and meet with the fans on the Mellow Yellow walking tour. If there's a gripe, I get it. I am like the face of customer service out there on a weekly basis. And here's what I have heard about NHRA.TV. Because I ask and pry and demand information and follow-ups. There were some glitches at the start of the year and there were some problems, but generally considerably more stable than it has ever been. What internet stream can stay connected for 8 straight hours? I can tell you my, Amazon stick doesn't, and my Roku stick doesn't, and frankly my AT&T Uverse doesn't. Every once in a while it has to reconnect and goes through a business. So anything internet is going to have to be reconnected or reloaded every once in a while. The idea that you can get the U.S. Nationals for $26 and watch our whole show, whether it be something silly like Jason Logan and myself demanding that you renew your tickets, whether it be something fun like Nitro Primetime, all of these things, well worth it. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the person who takes a big negative mo and puts it right on the top of it. Steaming mo. Why? And I think there's been a concerted effort from recently to push back. And that's what's going to happen. So, yeah, negatives, which nobody in the WFO universe. Now, I will say this, though. I watch Nitro Primetime certainly every week. Like this week, the audio of the car sounds was a little muted. All right, that can be better. Duly noted. It goes in my notes. I'm going to feed it back. There's the deal. The, the ambient noise, like, Trek sounds, could have been up a little higher. Alan Reinhart, crystal clear. My mic, a little low. These are real-time audio mix issues. Sometimes it's perfect. Sometimes it's perfect minus a little. This week, perfect minus a little. But if you're a fan, honestly, you want that experience. That's the experience you want. The live with everybody else watching Nitro Primetime. Watching it all go down. Watching class eliminations. I'm going to be watching class eliminations as I travel up to Indy. Actually, I hope to be there in time for class eliminations because I roll in on Thursday. Knock, knock. Hope I get there. Going to be great stuff. And if you are there, if you're going to be there, I think WFO Shirt Day is Saturday. What do you think? I don't know. Let's discuss. And it's going to be a whole lot of fun. It's the U.S. Nationals. How could it not be? There are people that go every single year. And there's a reason. It is the biggest race on the planet Earth. It is the best drag race on planet Earth. There are more cooler cars, significant cars, than will ever be in any one place ever. And maybe it's not exactly like it was in 1980 or 85 or 65 or 69 or 95. It's what it is in 2019. The most evolved the sport has ever been. The closest competition that has ever been. A wild cast of characters that is more interesting, probably, or as interesting as ever. That's something I want to see. And I can't wait to be there. And next week we'll have our pre-Indy show. Oh, I guess we got to get Hank the Crank on, right? Hank Stewart out there trying to win. Every year, man, the year Hank Stewart wins Indy, I'm not going to not do the interview. Got to do it every year. Thanks to everybody who was on the show. Jason Line, Leah, Ron Capps, Alan Reinhart. Thanks to all our sponsors. Total Seal Piston Rings, Magic Drive, RoadAxeCoffeeandGrills.com, Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, HusseyPerformance.net, Hank Stippers, Metalworking Lubricants, Samtech, but of course, Drag Racing Edge Magazine and EV3 Drag Racing for your mobile device. Appreciate all of them and all of you. Remember to subscribe. If you've never written us a review, please write us a review. This show is good. I enjoy it. It's good enough. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time right here on WFO Radio.
WFO! The views and opinions of the hosts, guests, or callers do not necessarily reflect that of the station ownership, advertisers, or agencies.
I love WFO Radio.
Oh, yeah.